What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
3WR. Chapter 51 Unexpected Appearance, Whitebeard appears. Advertise here. Chapter 51 Unexpected Appearance, Whitebeard appears. Crazy, really crazy. With such a precaution, is it necessary to defend inside? For a moment, everyone looked suspiciously at the Marshal Sengoku at the top. They don't understand what Sengoku's intention is. In such a battle, not to mention fighting against 4 emperors, even if they directly enter New World, they can be swept away, right? Coming. The Whitebeard Pirate Alliance big ship group is coming. At this time, message from Marineford's Sentinel Division. Sengoku stood at the highest point with a calm face. Report the situation. Yes. Great Eddie Spider. Squad. Ice Witch. Whitey Bay. Brother DeKalban. Ermi. Pams. Maku Guy. The Sentinel Department quickly, 837, and reported the received information to Sengoku. At this time, the Sentinel Division stopped. Looking at the huge ship in front of him, his face was full of disbelief. The height of the giant is only a dozen meters, and the highest is 20 meters. And this monster is nearly 40 meters. Little Aussie's here too. After a brief astonishment, the Sentinel Department hurriedly continued to report information. Report to Marshal Sengoku. Whitebeard Pirate Alliance's big ship group has a total of 43 joining the pirate group, as well as the islands under its command, and the country's elite is out. Visual count, nearly 50,000 people. That's it. Faced with such a huge number of people, and the number is not less than 100 supernova powerhouses, Sengoku's performance is calm. It was as if these people were just passing through to him. Think for a while. Sengoku spoke again. Whitebeard headquarters, has anyone from the Whitebeard Pirates appeared? Yes. Everyone knows what the goal is this time. If Whitebeard doesn't show up for a moment, it means the war hasn't started yet. Let alone 50,000 people. Even if there are 500,000 people, they are still just aggregates of ants. Report. There are no ships on the sea level. Temporary judgment. The Whitebeard Pirates did not show up. What? Hearing this news, Sengoku frowned slightly. Of course he didn't believe that Whitebeard would use his subordinates as cannon fodder. But, for a moment he couldn't quite figure out what exactly Whitebeard was trying to do. Sengoku looked into the distance, his eyes were full of dignity. You old guy. At this time, even Sengoku, known as the resourceful general, couldn't figure out what Whitebeard was going to do. This opponent he has fought with all his life is also the opponent he has always wanted to defeat all his life. What the hell are you thinking? Boom. A loud bang exploded over the bay in front of Marineford Island. Countless sea water rushed directly to the sky, and finally scattered to the entire island. I see. The sea water gradually dispersed. 4 ships appeared in front of Sengoku one after another. So it's coating the boat and then coming from the bottom of the sea. You old guy, although you are old, if you don't think really, you shouldn't. As he spoke, the corners of Sengoku's mouth curled into an arc. His actions were too big. Hundreds of marine warships were sailing around Marineford. It was impossible for Whitebeard to know. Avoiding these marine warships is the best option. Otherwise, even the cannon fire would be enough for Whitebeard to drink a pot. Such an unexpected appearance was indeed beyond Sengoku's expectations. But, that's his best opponent, isn't it? Surrounded by Whitebeard pirate captains. Appeared. The Whitebeard Pirates have appeared. Moment. The reporters present and Marine Sentry Department immediately pointed all the cameras in the direction of the water column. Whitebeard is here. And the captains of Whitebeard's banner are here too. The sea gradually calmed down. Moby Dick's coating shattered. The Whitebeard Pirates are fully seen. Captain of the Whitebeard Pirates. Phoenix, Margot. Captain of the Whitebeard Pirates Team 3. Diamond, Joes. Whitebeard Pirates 5th Division Captain. Foil, Vista. Captain of the Whitebeard Pirates Division 6. Ramank. Captain of the 7th Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Rakoyo. 803. Appeared. The 17 captains of the Whitebeard Pirates have reached 15 in total. Quickly. The elite of the Whitebeard Pirate Group, and the elite selected by Whitebeard from the 43 vassal pirate groups, the forces, islands, and countries that Whitebeard sheltered were completely interpreted. Thousands of people directly bypassed more than 300 warships and appeared directly in Marineford. Spectacular. How spectacular. For a while, all the reporters started writing again. All impact phone bugs were aimed at the Moby Dick and its 3 escort ships. The dozen or so people standing on it seemed to be warriors who saved the world. Even if there are more than 100,000 elite marines on the opposite side. Even if the opponent has more than a dozen marine giants vice admiral, thousands of marine elites. Even Shichibukai came to 5. Even Marine 3 Admiral is here. Even Marine Marshal Sengoku personally supervised the battle. The people of the Whitebeard Pirates still have no fear. Their expressions didn't look like they were going to attack Naval Headquarters Marineford at all, as if they were back home. Just at this time, more than a dozen captains gradually dispersed to make way. A giant nearly 7 meters tall appeared slowly from the crowd of a dozen captains. His steps are light and slow. But his appearance, even just seeing a shadow, is enough to make everyone shut up. Even the sea, which was originally full of storms, became quiet at this time. King. This is a king of the sea. All the tranquility seemed to welcome the king above the sea to go home. Even if it is the marine side, it is the same. At this time, Sengoku, standing on the top floor of Marineford, looked at the figure gradually walking out of the Moby Dick, and silently said his name, Whitebeard. Correct. It can make the pirates surrender and the marine completely silent. This is Whitebeard. 0.0. Since the death of One Piece Gall D. Roger, the recognized king above the sea. Even the strongest man on the sea who faintly has the title of uncrowned One Piece, Whitebeard, Edward Newgate. Sengoku. Moby Dick aboard. Whitebeard stood at the front, looking directly at Sengoku at the top. At this time, the two old rivals who have been enemies for a lifetime meet again. The surrounding welcome ceremony was also very lively. Gu la la la. A bold, iconic laugh rang out from Whitebeard's mouth. If the opponent is you, it's not bad. Chapter 52. Don't be afraid, Ace, Dad is here to save you. Advertise here. Chapter 52. Don't be afraid, Ace, Dad is here to save you. Watching Whitebeard appear arrogantly, everyone was silent. Sengoku looked at Whitebeard with a gloomy face. You old guy, do you really want to make such a big commotion? Garp, Crane and other older Marines who were hiding aside looked at the direction of the Moby Dick without saying a word. This moment is Whitebeard's moment. As long as the audience who watched this live broadcast is afraid that there is absolutely no way to forget this scene at this time, there is absolutely no way to forget Whitebeard's aura like the return of the king. It seemed that all of Marine's preparations were empty talk, and everyone was terrified. Also in the heart cannot help but sigh. Worthy of Whitebeard. Whitebeard, old fellow, is interesting. Marineford's second floor. 3 where Admiral is located. Kizaru looked at the direction where Whitebeard appeared, with an inexplicable look in his eyes. Since you are already 24 people from the previous era, why can't you die obediently? Akainu was full of annoyance, very dissatisfied with the limelight of Whitebeard's appearance. In his opinion, even Whitebeard is just a pirate, that's all. Pirates don't need scenery. Aokiji on the side is the calmest, and up to now, Aokiji still looks lazy. It seems that this time is troublesome. The third floor. The 5 Shichibukai also have different expressions. Mihawk's eyes were fixed on Whitebeard. The reason for his coming is not only because of Shichibukai's forced recruitment, but also because he wants to see what the strongest man on the sea looks like. As expected of Whitebeard, even if Whitebeard didn't make a move, Mihawk understood at this time that this kind of powerhouse is definitely not something he can handle now. But Mihawk's eyes were full of sharpness. A swordsman, especially he who bears the greatest swordsman in the world on his back. The word fear is never in the dictionary. Since I saw it. Then you can take my trick instead. Doflamingo glanced at Mihawk with fighting eyes. He has known Mihawk for many years, and this is the first time he has seen Mihawk look so excited. He retracted his gaze, and also looked in Whitebeard's direction. Feeling the hockey emanating from Whitebeard, he couldn't help being surprised. As Doflamingo, who also owns Conqueror's hockey, he can feel the horror of Whitebeard more directly. For a while, the laughter in his mouth couldn't stop a little bit, as the strongest man in the sea. This spirit is well deserved. Compare that to Mihawk and Doflamingo, who were surprised and excited by the presence of Whitebeard. Empress Boa Hancock and Gecko Moria calmed down a lot. The tyrant, Bartholomew Bear, was even more expressionless, and no one knew what he was thinking. As for the others, even the elite Vice Admiral and the giant Vice Admiral were overwhelmed by Whitebeard's aura and couldn't even make a sound in a short time. Sengoku. Whitebeard held the Qinglong crescent knife with a confident smile on his mouth. We haven't seen each other in decades, have we? Is my dear son all right? Between words, Whitebeard's tawny pupils burst into murderous aura. If Whitebeard hears that Ace has the slightest damage at this time, no one will doubt whether Whitebeard will directly kill Sengoku. Gu la la la. Gu la la la. Everyone who was directly shocked by this burst of murderous aura and temperament dared not speak. The 150,000 marine elites were even more frightened, and they couldn't help but sweat. This is Whitebeard, the strongest man above the sea. Damn it. Watching Whitebeard's figure, Sengoku also had a worried expression on his face. He found that decades went by. It was even faintly rumored that this old opponent who had stepped into the underworld with half a foot was not at all diminished in prestige at this time. Even sharper and sharper. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. Sengoku gritted his teeth. Thinking of the more than 300 warships arranged around him makes me want to laugh. You guy can go directly to such a close place. Gu la la la. Listen to Sengoku. Whitebeard laughed again. His eyes were on Ace on the execution platform. Otherwise, you don't really think I'm going to follow your beat, do you, Sengoku? Listening to Whitebeard's words, Sengoku gritted his teeth and said nothing. Of course he knew Whitebeard was tough. Seeing that Sengoku didn't speak anymore, Whitebeard handed the Qinglong Yanyu Dao to a person next to him. The whole person slowly stood on the whale head of the Moby Dick. The muscles above the arms exploded. Directly around the chest. Don't be afraid, Ace, Dad is here to save you. Daddy, Ace yelled loudly after hearing what Whitebeard said on the execution platform. His face was filled with tears. The eyes recalled all the things in the Whitebeard Pirates. Regret and unwillingness filled my heart. If I could listen to you, Dad, I wouldn't be in trouble today. Where is it? Cracks appeared above Whitebeard's fists. For a while, the sea that had just calmed down once again set off waves. It was as if something was calling. The whole Marineford shook at this moment. What is this? For a while, everyone looked left and right. What is that crack? 103 all Marines, even those giant vice admirals and elite vice admirals showed panic expressions on their faces, they were amazed by the waves. Although there is no reason. But they believed that this vision of heaven and earth was caused by Whitebeard. Whitebeard can cause the waves of the sea. What happened to that explosion? Gradually, on the two sides of Marineford Island, there appeared two monstrous masses that were more than 4 times higher than naval headquarters and twice as large as Marineford. Sea shock. It even shook the sea. Sengoku has the answer at this point. As an opponent for decades, Sengoku naturally knew what Whitebeard was capable of. But even he was amazed by Whitebeard's growth at this time. This blow if Whitebeard succeeds. The entire Marineford, the island built by the naval headquarters, will be swallowed directly by the sea. Not to mention more than 300 warships and 150,000 elite Marines. Even if it is 10 times more combat power, will also be directly swallowed by Whitebeard's shock fruit ability. Is this what Whitebeard is capable of? Terrible. For a while, Marines are scared. Completely scared. The combat power that can easily destroy an island is completely beyond the scope of what humans can achieve. Chapter 53 Shock Fruit launched, the power of despair. Advertise here. Chapter 53 Shock Fruit launched, a desperate power. The 150,000 elite Marines retreated involuntarily at this moment. Facing the enemy, even the 4 emperors can bite the bullet. But where is the enemy here? This has been a total disaster. The natural disaster that destroyed the entire island. No, it's impossible. How can this be the power that people can show? For a while, the morale of the army is low. These Marine elites already had the idea of escaping. They want to escape from this island. They want to draw a clean line from this island. They are not afraid of dying in battle. But drowned in sea water like this. How can it be? No, I don't want to die like this. Monster. At this moment, it also reflects Sengoku's strategy and deliberation. The 150,000 elite Marine retreated again and again. But it is impossible for them to give up the Marineford coastline, because behind them are dozens of elite vice admirals. Although these elite vice admirals were also shocked by the power of Whitebeard's blow. However, they are not worried that this move can really destroy Marineford. Yu Guang looked behind him. With Aokiji here, it is impossible for Marineford to be greatly affected by the water attack alone. Fortunately, it's total war. If Whitebeard and I had to go head to head, I might just resign. Looking at the huge waves hundreds of meters high coming from both sides of Marineford, even the elite vice admirals were completely frightened at this time. Even if they knew that Aokiji was there, the attack of seawater would definitely not make them feel that Marineford was really hit by the artificial tsunami of Whitebeard, and they were afraid. It's just Whitebeard's power to drive shock fruit, plus his power and Conqueror's Haki if confronted head-on. I really can't imagine how miserable the end will be. As this Whitebeard, really a dying old man. It's no wonder that he dared to come with Marines' preparations like this. Whether it is courage, ability, resourcefulness, or strength, he is at the top of the world. The Vice Admiral class is already the backbone of Marine. Those who can be recruited in the Marine and Whitebeard Alliance fleet wars are among the best. However, even these people gave extremely high praise when facing enemies like Whitebeard. At this time, Aokiji, who was sitting on the Admiral's seat, stood up slowly. Looking around, a look of helplessness appeared on his face. I really didn't expect that this Whitebeard can be so irritable at such an age. As the new generation of Marine Admiral, he has not participated in the war with Whitebeard, nor has he had much contact with Whitebeard. For this leader of the old era, although he is lazy, as a powerhouse with the world's top combat power, he is naturally unconvinced. Now is the best chance to go head-to-head with Whitebeard. He wouldn't really just deal with the tsunami. A sharpness flashed in his eyes. Aokiji, who is usually lazy, unexpectedly became serious at this time. Whitebeard, I want to see if you are qualified to be called the leader of the old era. While talking, Aokiji's figure has disappeared above the Admiral's seat. In the next second, it appeared above Marineford. Aokiji Admiral shot. If there is one way to observe the movements of both the Marine and Whitebeard Alliance fleets these days, then there are only those reporters. They were acutely aware of Aokiji's departure. Immediately turned part of the camera to Aokiji. I didn't expect it. Before the two sides started fighting, they directly forced Marine Admiral to make a move. This Whitebeard deserves to be called the strongest man above the sea. This strength is really unbelievable. For a while, the news was sent back one after another. In a corner, Garp and Crane, 2 old Marines from the previous generation, are hiding here at this time. It's not necessary, they won't make a move. If the 3 admirals are Marines' highest combat strength and cards on the bright side, then these people are Marines' hidden cards, and they are cards that will not be easily used. As expected of Whitebeard, this old guy is completely unchanged from when he was young. Garp glanced around. He's as good as Whitebeard is. I also understand the situation of Marines' combat power. Naturally, I won't worry. However, I just don't know how the old guy's body is doing. It is said that the Lois has been buried to the eyebrows, and I don't know if I can survive this war. Looking at Garp, who was pretending to be calm, Crane focused his eyes on Ace on the execution platform. As the closest comrade in arms ever, Crane knew Garp even better than Garp himself. Originally, his family was enough to make Garp worry. Now Marine, who has served his entire life, will use his adopted grandson as bait to force Whitebeard to fight. This can almost be said to be Marine's betrayal of him, which really makes Crane have to worry. Garp. Crane's worried voice caught Garp's attention. Looking at Garp's innocent eyes, Crane calmed down his mood. He glared at him. It's a war, be serious. Ha, ha ha, ha ha ha. Garp touched his head in a little embarrassment, and said nothing at this time. Do you want to get off your horse? Sengoku looked at what happened in front of him, and he also calmed down at this time. With his hands clasped across his chest, he didn't look worried at all. What Whitebeard did was indeed shocking, and he was also taken aback. However, after all, it is only a momentary scenery. Not much has changed for the entire situation. He is mainly targeting the Whitebeard Pirates, where the conscripts from all over the world are on the coast. Naval battle is only his first insurance. If it is broken, it will be broken. Although distressed, although helpless, but also unacceptable. Is it the leader of the old era? This Jowda's time. Sengoku thought about what Above the Sea said to Whitebeard these days. It really lives up to its name. However, with people like you around, how do you let the new generation deal with it? That's all for now. Sengoku paused and shook his head slightly. Admiral's shot. At this time, in the midair of Marineford, a figure appeared. It is Aokiji, and the method he used to float into the midair is naturally the moonwalk in Marine 6 styles. Seeing Aokiji make a move, the fear on the Marines' faces gradually disappeared. Both eyes are full of hope. Yes, it's cold. We still have Aokiji Admiral here. This moment, all Marines cheered. Aokiji's shot has made them no longer worry about their own safety. It's just a tsunami, but Aokiji Admiral once froze the sea surface hundreds of kilometers away. Chapter 54. The Battle of the Generals. Advertise here. Chapter 54. The Battle of the General. Because of Marines' publicity, and Admiral's nearly instant kill record in every grand line shot over the years, Marines' admiration for them even surpassed that of gods. No. 3 Admiral is the god in the hearts of these Marines. Even in the face of a natural disaster at the level of destroying the island, it is also a god who can easily solve it. Winning, it's just a tsunami. At this moment, they had long forgotten the fear in their hearts just now. There was a happy expression on everyone's face. Even if the waves are already rushing towards Marineford at this time, even if the highest point of the waves has tilted towards the direction of Marineford, there is no fear. Vaguely, there was even an expression of expectation. Compared with the ease of Marines, Aokiji, who was standing in midair, had a dignified face. Even if he had frozen hundreds of kilometers of sea surface, it was still dead sea water with no wind or waves. What we have to face now is a tsunami with huge waves. The energy contained in it is absolutely different. Spreading his hands, streams of cold air invisible to the naked eye radiated from Stomach's hands. For a moment, the surrounding air instantly dropped to freezing point. Those who stayed under Aokiji could even be hit by hailstones formed by the condensed air moisture from the cold air. In this way, Aokiji was ready, and directly mobilized all the frozen fruit energy on his body, and a blue light suddenly burst out from his eyes. 033, Ice Age. Aokiji's tone was light, but his move is not ordinary. In both hands, an extremely fine, ice needle, gradually spread out from the hand. This, ice needle, grows very fast. Soon we reach the huge waves on the left and right sides. Crack, click, crack. With the ice needle, the energy of frozen fruit is transmitted to the waves. A series of frozen voices sounded. Immediately afterwards. In an instant, 2 huge waves that could destroy the entire Marineford froze in an instant. Not only that, the range of freezing expanded rapidly. It directly freezes the sea surface of tens of nautical miles around it. Even Whitebeard's main ship Moby Dick and the 3 escort ships were frozen directly above the bay of Marineford, absolutely unable to move an inch. Do you see it? This is our Marine Admiral, because of the invincible existence above the sea. For a while, all the expectant Marines went crazy. What if it's a tsunami? Our Aokiji Admiral is an existence that can freeze even a tsunami. This moment is Aokiji's moment. All the Marines are cheering for Aokiji, and all the Marines are crazy about Aokiji. Whitebeard is very strong, but after all, he is just a remnant of the previous era. And our Admiral is in his prime. How does Whitebeard compare with our Admiral? Even. A lot of people started belittling Whitebeard at this point. This is the glory Aokiji brought them. Tisk, it's broken. Seeing this, Sengoku frowned slightly, with a look of helplessness on his face. Unlike the cheers of the Marines, he saw more. It can be seen that Aokiji released the frozen fruit ability with the greatest strength to avoid mistakes. However, this is really too careful, and the scope of ability is too large. It seems to be directly freezing the waves caused by Whitebeard, and it is also freezing the entire sea area around Marineford. The freeze didn't just freeze the tsunami, as Sengoku surmised. The more than 300 warships deployed by Sengoku on the periphery were frozen outside and could not move. Thus, the 50,000 pirates who were unable to break through the defense network of more than 300 warships were able to drive straight in and came to Whitebeard's side to give Whitebeard support. The elite fighters who disembarked from more than 300 battleships. Do not make jokes. That was a fleet of nearly 100 supernova-level powerhouses. With the help of warships, people with more than 300 warships can do it if they fight long range and prevent them from approaching. But head on. Thinking of this, Sengoku shook his head. The 150,000 Marine elites transferred from all over the world, as well as Marines Vice Admiral, Admiral and other high-end combat forces are all waiting for Whitebeard's arrival on Marineford Island. Letting them go is undoubtedly letting them die. See, even if it is a suicide attack, the tens of thousands of people on more than 300 warships may not be able to stop the Whitebeard elite for a long time. People from the communications department answered quickly. Not half a minute. A voice came from the phone bug. Marshal Sengoku, the communications herald awaits your orders. Immediately inform the Marines on the 326 battleships outside Marineford not to disembark and wait for orders. The Ministry of Communications is suspicious of Sengoku's order. However, doubts are doubts. The job of a soldier is to obey orders. He nodded immediately. Yes. Next, just pass on Sengoku's orders directly. Old man, I admire you very much. At this time, Aokiji didn't leave after freezing the tsunami caused by Whitebeard. Instead, it went directly to Whitebeard's side. Admiral's seat. When everyone's attention is on Aokiji, Toku and Zeon are also missing. Oh, Whitebeard looked at Aokiji. He has also heard of Aokiji's name for a long time. Also met. However, this is the first time that they have faced each other face to face. In that case, for the sake of my old age, make way for me. 11. The old man is just joking. Armament hockey is wrapped around Aokiji's hands. Frozen. 2 thorny spears. Following Aokiji's voice fell. The 2 ice spears were directly condensed in midair by Aokiji. Without the slightest hesitation, straight to Whitebeard's direction. For a while, the captains of the Whitebeard Pirates are about to step forward. Obviously, they didn't want to let Whitebeard go. But, how could they possibly pass Whitebeard any faster? I saw that the shocking power of shock fruit had already gathered in Whitebeard's hands. Visible cracks spread from Whitebeard's fist. The current junior. I really don't know how to respect the old and love the young. The voice fell. Whitebeard punches forward. The nearly 5-meter-long ice spear shattered directly. Ha ha. Seeing his tricks being cracked, Aokiji wasn't annoyed either. For him, facing a master like Whitebeard and wanting to kill with one blow is purely whimsical. The energy of frozen fruit condensed on the hands again. Blades of skates were pouring straight towards Whitebeard from all directions of Aokiji. Not only that, it's not hard to spot the radiance flickering on it. Aokiji also has a part of armament hockey hidden on it, which increases the power of this move by a level. Chapter 55 Aokiji's Retreat, Mihawk's Challenge. Advertise here. Chapter 55 Aokiji's Retreat, Mihawk's Challenge. As soon as Aokiji made a shot, it was full of ice skates. Aokiji believes that if this trick hits, even Whitebeard will surely die. Nice. Seeing this scene, all Marines became excited. This is Master Aokiji's ultimate move, I want to see how you block it. At this time, the Marines completely cleared away all the previous depression and fear. They were activated again by Aokiji's tricks. Everyone is full of fighting spirit. Ha. To this, the Whitebeard Pirates did not fluctuate at all. Just kidding. If only Admiral could defeat the 4 emperors. So the new world has long been razed to the ground by the Marine, and it will be the turn of the 4 emperors to preside over the order of the new world. The team captains headed by Marco saw Whitebeard's interest at this time, and wanted to do it himself, so they no longer wanted to help. The other pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates also began to think about how to break through Marine's defense. The bad news now is that their 4 ships are all frozen, and they can't sail anymore for a while. The good news is that Aokiji's freezing also paves the way for them to Marineford. Gu la la la. A characteristic laugh escaped Whitebeard's throat. Whitebeard took a step forward. The whole person reached in front of Aokiji in an instant. The speed is so fast that it even surpasses Kizaru with sparkling fruit. How come? See here. Aokiji's pupils shrunk. The whole person showed a panic expression. No, I can't escape. Aokiji's reaction was also quick, knowing that he couldn't avoid it. The whole body was curled up as much as possible, and a thick layer of armament hockey directly emerged from the place most likely to be hit by Whitebeard. This kind of defense, do you also want to defend against my attack? Aokiji's performance. Whitebeard looked disdainful. On the right fist, tiny cracks appeared one after another. Shock fruit was used by Whitebeard in ultimate. Die. A thunderous roar sounded. For a split second, Whitebeard's fist swung out. It hit Aokiji directly on the arm. Crack. There was a sound of ice breaking. Even though Aokiji's arm was protected by armament haki, it was broken at this time. Ha ha ha. At this time, even the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates who had been trained and disciplined by Whitebeard couldn't help laughing at this time. See, this is our captain, Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors. What is your admiral? Taunting sounds came from the mouths of the pirates one after another. For a while, all the Marines were dumbfounded. It's not like they don't have a chance to talk back. It's not that they don't know that Whitebeard is strong. But I didn't expect it to be so strong, even if Admiral Aokiji made a shot himself, and with all his strength, he still couldn't stop Whitebeard's punch. At this moment, all the Marines, even those elite vice admirals, were terrified by the scene in front of them. This. Is that a lie? Pirates are carnival, Marines are doubting life. However, the confrontation between Whitebeard and Aokiji did not stop. Kacha-kacha-cha. The sound of ice cubes breaking gradually sounded. Quickly, Whitebeard's fist went right through Aokiji's entire body. This punch with shock fruit and armament haki smashed Aokiji to pieces. The whole body is not to mention a complete block of ice. You can even collect it directly and eat it as a smoothie. PFF'd. A mouthful of blood spilled out of his mouth. Aokiji reunited into a body in the distance and looked at Whitebeard with a dumbfounded expression on his face. Even he couldn't figure out why Whitebeard was so strong. Fine. Aokiji reacted the instant he knew he was being attacked. While strengthening the defense, the body was separated from the battlefield, leaving only an ice sculpture in place. Even so, Aokiji was still wounded. Looking at Whitebeard, who was smiling and standing back on the head of the Moby Dick whale again, Aokiji had a frightened expression on his face for the first time. Terrible people. It's just a monster. Such a scene. It can be said that it directly shocked everyone. Even Garp and Sengoku were silent at this moment. Everyone knows that Whitebeard is definitely not easy to deal with. However, no one thought of it. Whitebeard can be so strong. Even Admiral can take one punch. If it wasn't for Aokiji's fast running just now, even if he didn't die, he might be beaten by Whitebeard and lose his combat effectiveness. That way, I'm more interested. Asking for flowers. A voice gradually spread out at this time, bursts of murderous intent and fighting intent emanated from the words. Now that both Garp and Sengoku are silent, the only one who can show his fighting spirit is the Wukai among Wukai. And among all the people present, only Mihawk has it. I saw that Mihawk will be one of the 12 masters of the supreme sharp knife on the back, the black knife, Knight. As far as the eye can see, it runs directly through the entire Marineford Island and across the sea. It fell directly on Whitebeard standing on the Moby Dick. The power of the whole body is completely concentrated on the big knife, Yi, in his hand. Armament haki was prodded to ultimate by him. I want to see how far I am from the strongest man in the sea. During the conversation, a slash flew out from the top of Yi. The gigantic slash even reached the height of the walls the Marine built for Marineford. This slashing and flying seemed to directly penetrate the entire battlefield. Came directly in front of Whitebeard. Mihawk, it's Hawkeye Mihawk making the shot. At this time, the Marines, who had been showing signs of decline, brightened up one after another. This is the greatest swordsman in the world. As expected of Mihawk, this slash can split the sky and the earth, right? For a while, with Mihawk's shot, Marine's sense of anticipation was raised again. Even Doflamingo and Gecko Moria for Shichibukai looked at Mihawk suspiciously. From their point of view, Mihawk's appearance here is completely recruited by the world government. However, now it seems that this is not the case at all. Under the eyes of everyone's anticipation, the huge slash had already arrived in front of Bidiklu. A figure shining with brilliance appeared on the ice at the bow of the ship. It's Diamond Josie. Hey, the huge slash fell directly on Jaws's body. The strong force directly pushed Chaozi back more than 10 meters. However, Jaws's defense was too high. Although Mihawk's slash made Josie look a little embarrassed. But it didn't let Josie suffer even the slightest harm. Chapter 56 Unparalleled Strength, Whitebeard Strikes. Advertise here. Chapter 56 Unparalleled Strength, Whitebeard Strikes. Oh, such a scene. Let the pirates boil directly. What is the world's greatest swordsman? In front of our Captain Joe's, it's useless at all. Compared to the happiness of the pirates, the Marines are as disgusting as if they ate food from an island country. Admiral was punched flying, and Mihawk's shot was useless. Whitebeard shot himself, and the successive failures even made them lose a lot of morale again. Compared with the changes in the atmosphere of the bottom-level personnel on both sides. Joe's frowned slightly. He wanted it, too. Mihawk's slashes had no effect at all. However, this is obviously unrealistic. Fine, only this slash. Armament haki forcibly raised the whole body. Jaws's angry voice sounded. MI 480. Hawk's slash was directly changed by him and sent directly into the sky. This is his way of solving problems. Isn't my slash enough to force you to make a move? Mihawk looked in Whitebeard's direction. Silently took back. Yi. He was not affected by it. As a swordsman, what he has to do is to become stronger and stronger again. Gu la la la. For Jaws's performance, Whitebeard can be said to be very satisfied. At this time, he jumped directly from the top of the Moby Dick holding the Qinglong crescent knife. Since Aokiji helped us pave the way on the sea and warmly welcomed us into Marineford, how could we not accept the invitation? Battle into Marineford. Hearing Whitebeard's words, Margot immediately raised his fist. With Margaret in the lead, the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates were also excited. Shooting into Marineford. Battle into Marineford. Listen to the crazy shouts of the pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates behind you. Whitebeard smiled slightly. The pace is fast. Take the lead and rush in the direction of Marineford. Kill, kill. Shocking shouts sounded. Even in the face of 150,000 marine elites, they are still indomitable. Block them. At this time, under the leadership of Whitebeard, it was completely crazy. Fully fired. A dozen giants, Vice Admiral, joined together directly at this time. Head straight for Whitebeard like a dozen hills. There are countless races in this world, but only two races claim to be invincible. One is the Murlocs in the water. The other is the giant race. That huge body brought them a power that ordinary people can't imagine. Clang. A metallic clang sounded. Whitebeard's Qinglong Yanyu knife collided directly with the big knife in the hands of a marine vice admiral. A piercing sound sounded. With his old body, Whitebeard even competed with the giants in terms of strength. Isn't it? Is there really someone in this world who can compete with giants? Far away, where the reporter was, everyone was dumbfounded watching this scene. No, just at this time, a voice interrupted him. Not only can compete with the giants in strength, Whitebeard's strength is even greater than that of the giants. Listen to this man. Everyone quickly turned their attention to the battlefield again. At this time, Whitebeard actually directly chopped off the giant vice admiral's big sword, and took away a giant with a Qinglong Yanyu knife. Crack, click, click, swipe, brush, brush, shutter sound. Right fast. At this point, all the reporters went crazy. Looking at Whitebeard in front of him, no one wants to let go of this news. Gu la la la. The reporters are writing furiously, trying their best to get the news to the top as quickly as possible. At this moment, Whitebeard calmly twisted his neck and stretched his body. Bang, bang, bang. A crisp sound sounded on Whitebeard's body. Whitebeard looked at the dozen or so giants in front of Vice Admiral and said again, now, it's completely active. As the event opened, a dozen giants Vice Admiral glanced at each other. No one understood what Whitebeard meant. But, they don't need to figure it out either. Because Whitebeard's next performance can already let them understand the meaning of Whitebeard's words. Die. A roar rose from Whitebeard's mouth. The Qinglong Yanyu knife in his hand directly slashed at the head of the giant Vice Admiral. At this time, the giant Vice Admiral facing Whitebeard still doesn't understand what's going on. Thinking that his brother died just because the weapon was not as good as Whitebeard's. He even foolishly threw out the big knife in his hand again, intending to stop Whitebeard from advancing. Crack. Whitebeard moved on. All that remains is the corpse of a giant, Vice Admiral. How come? This is the case. Other giants Vice Admiral has miniature pupils. Giants. A brave and warlike race, each giant regards fighting as a lifelong belief. There is never any possibility of backing down because the battle is too hard. But, that is when the outcome of the battle can still be seen. Now, facing Whitebeard, they only have the word despair. At this time, even the giant vice admirals of the giant family are afraid. Don't be afraid. At this time, someone stood up. We are Marine, we are justice. No matter how strong Whitebeard is, he is still a pirate and evil. How can justice shrink back in the face of evil? Also, even leaving aside the identity of Marine, we are also a race of giants. Are you going to shame the giant race? How should we face the folks of Elbaf? Have to say, this chicken soup came at the right time. Hearing this person's words, the hesitation and fear in everyone's eyes gradually disappeared. Full of fighting spirit again. Right. Facing the giant vice admiral who is full of fighting spirit again, Whitebeard is also relieved. 0.9. In this way, it is not considered to have insulted the name of the giant family. During the conversation, Whitebeard moved again. The Qinglong Yanyu knife in his hand quickly slid across at a speed invisible to the naked eye. Just one knife. Then directly harvested 3 giants vice admiral. And having said that, Whitebeard paused for a moment, the softness in his eyes disappeared and became full of tyranny and murderous look. It's meaningless to kill someone who has no fighting spirit. Don't be afraid. Let's go together. For this, the giant vice admirals are crazy. Straight to Whitebeard. At this time, the giant's vice admirals are down to 9. The 9 attacked Whitebeard in different directions, trapping Whitebeard in the middle. Are you encircled? Whitebeard glanced quickly around. Don't you feel stupid? Chapter 57 Marco's shot, Garp's punch. Advertise here. Chapter 57 Marco's Shot, Garp's Punch. Encirclement. This is the best tactic for many people to fight against each other. It can make the person who was beaten have no time to take care of everyone around him. But the giant's vice admirals dealt with Whitebeard. The leader of the old days, the strongest man in the world, the man with shock fruit. I'm Whitebeard. Open your mouth calmly. Whitebeard picked up the Qinglong Yanyu knife with both hands. The energy of one after another shock fruit converges on the tip of the Qinglong Yanyu knife. Countless cracks unfold above the tip of the knife. Madness. Whitebeard directly caused the tsunami to be forgotten so quickly. See, Sengoku was also flustered. Shock fruit may not be the top of the list of devil fruit. But its range of destructive power is absolutely unmatched. He actually wanted to encircle Whitebeard. It can be said that the giant race was born for fighting. However, the behavior of these giants vice admiral made Sengoku doubt the fighting instinct of the giants for the first time. It would be fine if Whitebeard didn't show the power of shock fruit, the problem is that the large-scale attack Whitebeard just used it. There was a look of sadness in his eyes. Why? Looking at the 9 giants vice admiral, Sengoku sighed, it's over. It seems that I have to explain everything here. Since you ran over to die together. The ability of shock fruit is assembled. Whitebeard had a trademark grin on his face. Then let's all die. During the conversation, cracks spread wildly on the tip of Qinglong Yanyu knife. Crack, crack. There was a piercing sound like glass breaking. The scope of influence of shock fruit immediately wrapped the 9 giants vice admiral directly in it. Bang, 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 bang. It's like a balloon shattered. In the blink of an eye, the 9 giants, vice admiral, twisted their entire bodies, and were directly shocked to death by shock fruit's ability. Powerful. Too strong. At this time, the reporters on the periphery went crazy. They don't care about the outcome of the Marine and Whitebeard Pirates. They just want the latest, breaking news. The pen that has not stopped since the beginning of the war is running fast again. Even, reporters also captured Whitebeard bathing in a rain of blood from the explosion of the giant vice admiral. It is beautiful, moving, and fully explains what is called the aesthetics of violence. Like an invincible and ever victorious general. Dad has started, so I can't be idle. At this time, the Whitebeard Pirates have completely flocked to Marine's side. Before the elite vice admiral came to support, the Whitebeard Pirates led by Captain Fan are like wolves in a flock of sheep, killing whoever they see, unimpeded. Margaret looked around. The whole body is wrapped in blue and yellow flames. The whole person has turned into a legendary creature, the Phoenix. Eyes on Ace on the execution platform. That's his strategy, save Ace straight away. The purpose of the Whitebeard Pirates coming here is to save Ace. As long as Ace can be saved, they can leave directly. If you leave now, although it is said that the Moby Dick will not be able to take it away because it is frozen. But there are 53 pirate groups under the Whitebeard Alliance fleet, forces under the influence of Whitebeard, islands and national fleets. These ships were not frozen. They could have left Marineford on these ships. Ace, here I come. During the conversation, the Phoenix's wings flapped directly. Marco saw that the elite vice admirals had already supported the Marine from the rear, and fought with the captains and vice captains of the Whitebeard Pirates. In this gap, they rushed directly to the execution platform. The time Margao found was very precise. The admirals are all busy with their respective battles and have no time to take care of them. The elite vice admiral and Shichibukai have just been stalked by the Whitebeard Pirates captains and vice captains. It can be said, the rear of the Marine side is completely air defensed. This is his best chance to save Ace. Hey, a sky-high bird cry sounded. Margot was already in front of the execution platform. A huge phoenix flame appeared instantly. Not good. At this time, everyone noticed Margau's actions. The fastest yellow ape even got rid of the opponent in front of him, and moved directly and quickly in the direction of Margao. Aokiji also immediately rushed to the direction of the execution platform. There may be no way to prevent Ace from being rescued. But they'll at least keep Ace and Margot close to the scaffold. It's over, even Kizaru Admiral can't get there in the first time at this distance. Could it be that Ace is about to be rescued? The Marine side is already desperate. From the beginning of this war, the Marine side was suppressed everywhere. Obviously, no matter the strength, the number of people is higher than that of the Whitebeard Alliance ship group, but they just can't compare, and they will be overwhelmed by the Whitebeard Pirate group every time. The Whitebeard Pirates got excited. As expected of the captain of our Whitebeard Pirates. This kind of wisdom, I am afraid that there are not many people in this world who can match it. The cheers of the pirates and the despair of the Marines were not noticed by Margot. Looking at Ace close in front of him, Margau's calm face inevitably revealed an expression of excitement. Ace, I'm here to save you. Seastone will indeed trap and block people with fruit abilities. But this doesn't mean that Seastone won't be damaged by the ability of the ability user. As for hurting Ace, since Margot dared to come here alone, it means having 013 confidence in your fire control ability. It's done. At this time, Margao was less than 3 meters away from Ace. He himself thought he had succeeded this time. At this moment, a person who was several times faster than him, and whose figure could not be seen clearly for a while, came to the sky above the execution platform. "You kids still want to rob the court?" A rough voice sounded. At this time, the figure also completely appeared in front of everyone. This figure is none other than the Marine hero, Garp. Garp. See Garp appear. The already desperate Marines became excited one after another. Kizaru and Aokiji, who were rushing to the execution platform, also stopped slowly. There is Garp. No surprises at all. This is a common occurrence among the three admirals of the younger generation. It's Hero Garp. For a while. Plot transition. When it was the pirates' turn to stop talking, the Marines became excited. The words of a junior like you. Garp's right fist is covered with black and purple, with armament hockey in the shape of Uzumaki vaguely. It's better to be honest. Chapter 58 War heats up, Whitebeard is attacked. Advertise here. Chapter 58 The war heated, Whitebeard was attacked. Not good. Margao quickly blocked the gathered indestructible flames in front of him. However, this is Garp's fist. Owner of the world's strongest armament hockey. Bang. Punch out. Margao was directly scattered. Not even a trace of flame was left. Cough. Ahem. Next second, Margao appeared on the ground. He spat blood. Paleness was written all over his face. Although Garp's punch didn't kill him, it just didn't kill him. But, Margao is not the owner of the temple fruit. As long as you don't die, that's enough. Blue and orange flames gradually burned Margao's body. The damage on the body gradually disappeared. Wait until Margao fully recovers. He looked at Garp with a solemn face. As expected of the man called the opponent by the father, this power is probably even more terrifying than the father. Oh. At this point, Marine and the pirates are completely intertwined. Margau's raid tactics were unsuccessful. It immediately aroused cheers from the Marines. Garp tidied up Margao, looked at Ace with complicated eyes. Ace. Garp has 1,000 things he wants to say to Ace. Want to curse this useless grandson. I want to save this useless grandson. I want to hug this useless grandson. However, when it came to his mouth, nothing came out. Grandfather. Ace lowered his head, not daring to look at Garp at all. Ace didn't let anyone down in his 20 years of life. Only Garp. He doesn't know how to deal with it. This old man who allowed him to survive and gave him a happy childhood is something he will never forget in his life. At this moment, Ace was also thinking about a possibility. If I hadn't been so self-willed at the beginning, but had chosen to be a Marine. There must be different results, right? The old man in front of him will be very happy, and he will not let the brothers of the Whitebeard Pirates bear the possibility of losing their lives, will he? I was wrong. Why? Garp sighed. At this time, he was very old. This old man who gallops invincibly in the sea, this strong man whose strength cannot be wiped out even by the years, unexpectedly faintly showed a touch of fatigue at this time. I won't let you be rescued easily. He spoke very harshly. But Garp's escape is also very fast. Don't give Ace a chance to see himself. The figure has already arrived at the position where Admiral was sitting just now, walked to the very center, and sat down on the position where Akainu was originally sitting. When even Admiral was about to make a move, Garp, like Sengoku, sat on the sidelines leisurely, as if he would not make a move easily. And his position is still only Vice Admiral. Arguably, if not the name Garp. Taking these things out alone is a crime enough to be shot. However, if you say Garp's name, then all this seems too reasonable. You guys are dangerous. Marco looked at Garp, who was sitting high on the Admiral's seat. His eyes were full of urgency. Are all the elders of the previous generation so powerful? Compared to studying the things of the previous generation, don't you think we should have a good chat? Moment. A golden laser pierced Margau's body. The laser left a hole directly above Margau's body. However, the hole was repaired within a second, even if the location was the heart. It's really dangerous. Margau spoke again, turning his head to look in Kizaru's direction. Are you sneaking in behind Admiral? Are you not afraid of compromising your reputation? This is what you said. Kizaru doesn't think so. It's all about justice. Kill, kill, kill. At this moment, Whitebeard's forces, 43 affiliated pirate groups, forces within Whitebeard's sphere of influence, islands, and elites from the country rushed to them one after another. Great Eddie Spider, Ice Witch and other new world powerhouses have come to Whitebeard's side. Daddy, although the Whitebeard Pirates are magnificent, there are only more than 1,600 people after all. The opposite Marine has 150,000 elites. Marco and Jose are going to stop Kizaru and Aokiji. The other captains and vice captains also have to deal with the elite Vice Admiral and Shichibukai, who have no time to take care of others. Even if all the Whitebeard Pirates can fight 10 to 1, after the momentum disappears, they still fall into a hard fight. The arrival of this force at this time can be said to be very timely. Just when the Whitebeard Pirates were about to fall into the situation of being surrounded by Marine, they supplemented the battle history of continuing to move forward. For a while, Marine has 150,000 elites, hundreds of rear admirals vice admirals, dozens of elites vice admirals, Shichibukai and 2 admirals. On the pirate side, There are more than 50,000 elites, nearly 100 New World experts, 15 vice captains, and 14 captains. The battle stalemate again for a while. In terms of strength, the Whitebeard Alliance fleet is weaker than Marine, and they are still fighting at naval headquarters. But it was this kind of battle that seemed to be gradually broken by Whitebeard. Why don't you go? Watching the battle ahead, Whitebeard glanced at the big vortex spider beside him with some doubts in his eyes. Father, here's the thing. The big vortex spider's expression was obviously wrong. But out of trust in his family, Whitebeard didn't have any doubts. Walked slowly to Whitebeard's side. The Eddy spider looked at Whitebeard. At this time, Whitebeard has already shifted his sight to the direction of the battlefield. I have a question I want to ask. Ask, Whitebeard responded. So many of us brothers came together, for money, just to save Ace alone. I don't know how many people will die during this period. Is it really worth it? Whitebeard wasn't surprised by the question. Still didn't look back at the great Eddy spider. Naturally responded to the words of the great Eddy spider. Of course it's worth it. We can gain a foothold in New World by relying on our strong strength and our sense of belonging to the fleet. Don't say Ace got caught. Even if it's just a pirate I've never seen, as long as it's my Whitebeard, I'll fight with Marine. Whitebeard didn't finish his sentence. Suddenly a pain in the chest. A knife had penetrated his chest, as far as Whitebeard could see. Liar. You liar. Immediately after the Eddy spider wounded Whitebeard, he backed away in fright. You betrayed all our brothers to save Ace. Akainu has told me all your plans with Marine. Chapter 59. Lin An makes a move and goes directly to the 6th floor. Advertise here. Chapter 59. Lin An makes a move and goes directly to the 6th floor. Impel down. Luffy followed Lin An. Brother Lin An, how do we get in? This is the most strictly guarded prison in the entire world. Not to mention 5 steps and 1 post, 10 steps and 1 post are similar. Looking at the patrolling people in front of him, Luffy was also a little worried. If he came by himself, then Luffy would definitely not think too much. But this time he was with Lin An, and he could still think of Rayleigh's exhortation to him before departure. Go slowly, don't be watched by surveillance. My observation hockey can now directly cover the entire impel down, just follow me and keep quiet. Listening to Lin An's words, Luffy nodded directly, with a clever look. If people from the Straw Hat Pirates or Garp who are familiar with Luffy see this appearance, their jaws will definitely drop. The guard guarding the gate has not waited to speak. People have been killed by Lin An. Luffy, send him to that side corner where there's no image. Good. Luffy agreed immediately. Along the way, the two cooperated like this. Lin An was responsible for the silent killing, while Luffy moved the corpse with rubber fruit. Soon, the two went down to the 2nd floor of Impel Down. Still in accordance with the previous marching method, it was quickly pushed to the 950th place in the middle. Hello. At this time, a head popped out suddenly. Seeing Lin An and Luffy, they screamed in fright. Fine. There were no guards around, but no one else was alarmed. Luffy kid. Seeing Luffy, the head immediately became angry. It turned out to be you. Let me die. Talking. This head is about to attack. However, he forgot that his body was still in the prison, only his head slipped out while the guards were away. You know. Lin An looked at Luffy. Well, but he's not in the same group, so you don't need to talk to him. Lin An naturally knows about Buggy. After all, he is the person who appeared from the beginning of the original book. However, he doesn't know what the Buggy is for. After hearing Luffy's answer at this time, he raised his hand and activated Shock Fruit's ability. If that's the case, then kill him directly, lest he make any noise that disturbs us. Naturally, Luffy has no objection to this. Don't. Buggy looked at Lin An's right hand, especially the armament hockey entanglement, so frightened that the soul, CEG, almost flew out. Although he said that his strength was not very good, his knowledge was not bad at all. Buggy knows very well that the people who can use armament hockey are definitely top powerhouses. Not to mention someone who can sneak into Impel Down. Hastily shook his head. Don't kill me, I have a road map from the 2nd floor to the 5th floor. I only have one request, just take me away. Lin An showed doubts. After a little thought, he nodded. Anyway, you can bring 1 oil bottle with you, and you can bring 2 oil bottles with you. What's more, Buggy has a map up to the 5th floor, which is much more useful than Luffy. All right. Lin An took a short detour. Didn't get out the first time after seeing Buggy's cell. Seeing Lin An stop, Buggy looked puzzled. What's wrong? Of course there are too many people, so even if I take you out, there are too many people who know about it. It's hard to guarantee that they won't tell the jailer the news. But, Lin An's concerns are not unreasonable. However, Buggy couldn't think of any good solution for a while. If not, how can I take out my body? In this regard, Lin An naturally has a countermeasure. Don't worry, leave it to me. Remember, stick to your heart and don't be influenced by me. What's the meaning? Buggy looked puzzled, and Luffy didn't understand the meaning of Lin An's words. There was a domineering look in Lin An's eyes. At this moment, the whole body exudes a kingly aura. Boom. A soundless, invisible, colorless air wave instantly swept across a range of hundreds of meters around. It is the fastest move of Xing Xiaobing, Conqueror's Haki. Under Lin An's deliberate control, the influence range of Conqueror's Haki was directly controlled within 300 meters, which happened to stun all the mortals around who might find Lin An. Wake up! Wake up! You two wake up! Lin An patted the faces of Luffy and Buggy with his hands. This is the hand with armament Haki. Although it is not heavy, the pain can be transmitted to the two senses. Ah, it hurts, it hurts. Quickly, Luffy and Buggy woke up in pain. As soon as he woke up, Luffy looked at Lin An with admiration. Stars appeared in his eyes. What kind of ability do you have? What a fuss. In response, Buggy gave Luffy a disdainful look. Conqueror's Haki, a kind of Haki that can't be practiced completely by talent. According to legend, only one person in 100 people is qualified to awaken this ability. And, minus the people who don't have access to Haki for the rest of their lives. It can be said that this is a rarer ability than Logia. Speaking of which, Buggy looked at Lin An's face and became more expectant. At this moment, he believed more and more that Lin An could really lead them out of the Impel Down. Since the Impel Down was built, there has only been one case of escape. They may be the second case. Lin An looked at Buggy with surprise in his eyes. You know a lot. That is. In response, Buggy raised his head proudly. Quote. In the middle of speaking, Buggy directly covered his mouth. The fact that he is a crew member of One Piece cannot be known by others. Otherwise, relying on his three-legged cat's kung fu, he might be directly approached and killed by the world government or those sea powerhouses who like to challenge. How can I say that I am so old? It is understandable to be more knowledgeable. 2. Lin An nodded. Then Buggy's body was released. This time, with the live map Buggy leading the way, Lin An didn't even have to use observation Haki all the time to waste energy. Quickly, a group of 3 came to the gates of the 5th and 6th floors, and met Mr. 3 during the process. Originally, Lin An didn't want to bring it. But when he heard that his candle fruit could imitate a key and untie the chains of seastone, he agreed. Here are the passage gates on the 5th and 6th floors. I don't know what it looks like on the 6th floor. Good. In response, Lin An nodded. In this case, the Candleman and I will go to the 6th floor to rescue Ace, and you will release the prisoners on the 5th floor. Chapter 60 Release the prisoners, those criminals who shocked the world. Advertise here. Chapter 60 Release the prisoners, those criminals who shocked the world. The people imprisoned on the 6th floor are all ruthless characters, and they cannot be released easily. I will go and judge in person. Why? Buggy and Mr. 3 looked puzzled, but Luffy, who knew the reason, remained calm. Also, my name is Mr. 3, not Candleman. Mr. 3 just resisted for a while, but after seeing Lin An's gaze, he quickly smiled obsequiously. It's nothing, I am also a candle person, so it is reasonable to call it that way. Ha ha, ha ha ha. If you don't tell you can't work seriously. Looking at Buggy and Mr. 3, Lin An felt a little helpless. Then he said persuasively, there are no less than 30,000 jailers in this Impel Down, and there are many Rear Admiral and Vice Admiral level strongmen, and Magellan who is not weaker than Admiral is also stationed. Do you think we can go out easily? I see. Although Mr. Point 3 is a little funny, but he is worthy of being engaged in intelligence before. The brain is still there. While Buggy was still in a dazed state, Lin An's words woke him up. Are you planning to take advantage of the riots of the prisoners, and then we take the opportunity to leave? Almost. Lin An nodded, and grabbed Mr. B's neck with one hand. The Candle Man and I will go first, you two go to liberate the prisoner. Good. Both Buggy and Luffy nodded immediately. Impel down the 6th floor. It is different from the densely packed guards on the first 5 floors. There wasn't even a single jailer here. Darkness is synonymous with this place. An intruder. At this time, a voice came out. Follow the sound. A man with a cigar in his mouth who didn't look like he was in prison was staring at Lin An. Shiryu of the Rain. For the strong, Lin An has investigated. The only people worthy of attention in this Impel Down are Magellan and Shiryu of the Rain. In addition to the need for the brain Impel Down this time, Lin An even asked for as much Impel Down information as possible from Rayleigh. The photo of Shiryu in the rain has already appeared in his mind hundreds of times, how could he not remember it? Also, looking at the rain Shiryu, Lin An nodded. Although you are imprisoned, you are still a high-level executive of this Impel Down. Now it's up to you to answer my question. Where did Ace go? Ace. There was a mockery in Shiryu's eyes. Just when he was about to play with Lin An, he saw endless momentum rising around Lin An. It's Conqueror's Haki, and it's Lin An's full pressure. Damn it, no wonder you can reach the 6th floor. Feeling the aura coming from Lin An, Shiryu of the Rain immediately raised his hands in surrender. If you can't beat me, I surrender, don't put pressure on me. I don't want to be ashamed to be stunned by Conqueror's Haki. Ace's words have been taken away long ago. Lin An glanced at Shiryu of the Rain and frowned slightly. His words are not very trustworthy. It's not wrong, what he said is right, the old man is willing to take responsibility for this news. At this time, another voice came out. A blue murloc appeared in front of a cell. See man, Jinbei. Looking in the direction of Jinbei, Lin An suddenly noticed a figure not far from Jinbei. Original Shichibukai, crocodile, sand crocodile, defeated by Luffy's weakness. That's right, it's me. Jinbei nodded. Whitebeard Pirates instructor. I just thought it was a Whitebeard gimmick for prestige. At this moment, it seems that your strength should not be underestimated. You don't need to shoot flattery. I'm going to take you out. Lin An walked up to Jinbei and threw Mr. 3 in front of the gate. Candleman, you rescued Jinbei and Crocodile. Talking. Lin An looked around. There are quite a few masters on the 6th floor. At this time, he dared not speak easily because of the high-strength conqueror's haki he had just released. After looking around for a week, Lin An shook his head. Although these people are all tough, there are even several Emperor Deputy-level existences. However, they are not under their own control. Now, only Jinbei, who knows everything, can believe it, and the proud crocodile can temporarily believe it through trading. Jinbei, crocodile, since Ace has been taken away, it means that my rescue came too late. At this time, I let you out to mean that you will follow me to participate in the summit war. Give me a quick word, do you want to participate? Listening to Lin An's words, Jinbei directly nodded in agreement. The reason why he was locked up here was that he did not agree with this summit war. Seeking flowers 0. At this time, I have the opportunity to participate and go out from Impel Down, of course it couldn't be better. Crocodile on the other end had a dignified expression. I also know the news about the summit war. Whitebeard is indeed terrifyingly strong. However, I don't think he can really beat Marine at full strength. That's not your concern. Lin An didn't answer Crocodile's words. Looking at Crocodile, there was seriousness in his eyes. Now, I only give you 2 choices. First, continue to stay here and wait for death. Second, go to the summit war with me. After a big fight, if you win, you will fly away and I will not stop you. If you lose, you will be caught and brought back at most. Listening to Lin An's words, Crocodile fell silent. As the behind-the-scenes boss of the Baroque studio, Crocodile's negotiation skills are undoubtedly extremely brilliant. However, when it came time for Lin An to directly tell the good and the bad, then he doesn't know what to do. If you disagree, then Jinbei, Candleman, let's go. Talking. Lin An turned around and was about to leave. Etc. Seeing Lin An's resolute appearance, Crocodile was overwhelmed. Okay, I promise you. Lin An came out from the 6th floor with Jinbei and Crocodile. At this moment, where is the 5th floor still so peaceful? Jump straight away. Feeling the chilling atmosphere around him and the way the jailers were running, the corners of Lin An's mouth twitched. These 2 guys, didn't I say tell them to be careful and quiet? Office of the Warden. Magellan stood up immediately after listening to his subordinate's report. Then sat back in an instant. No way, he hasn't completely solved it yet. Have all the prisoners on the 4th and 5th floors escaped? Even they have opened the shikai to save the prisoners on the 3rd floor. While enduring the monstrous stench, the jailer reported, yes, Lord Warden. Magellan closed his eyes and digested the news carefully. In the next second, he opened his eyes, call all the people who can be contacted, and go directly to the gate on the 1st floor to guard. Chapter 61 The 2 sides meet, Magellan blocks the way. Advertise here. Chapter 61 The 2 sides meet, Magellan blocks the way. This order stunned the jailer for a moment. Warden, the whole of Impel Down is in disarray right now. The 2nd and 1st tiers have not been affected. Shouldn't we suppress the prisoners first? Madness. Regarding the jailer's words, Magellan cursed directly. At this point, he finally had time to solve his own problems. Do you think that all the prisoners on the 5th and 4th floors have come out, and in addition to the vast area of Impel Down, can I arrest them all by myself? If I go to the east, the prisoners from the south, west, north, and south will run away. If I go to the west, the prisoners from the south, east, and north will all run away, and so on in the other 2 directions. Now is the big change for the whole Impel Down. However, Impel Down is the only island in the lonely sea after all. As long as I guard the 1st floor and leave the gate of 337 city, do you think they can escape? I see. As expected of the warden. This ingenuity can only be matched by Marshal Sengoku. The jailer looked at Magellan adoringly. Well, I'm going to give the order now. Wait. Magellan stopped the jailer again. There was a thoughtful expression in his eyes, and then he gave an order again. Arrange people to close the door to the world. Ah. The gate of the world, the only road leading to the outside world in this sea area planned by Marine, or the only road leading to known sea areas. Is it necessary? Warden, your strength is not weaker than Admiral's. Just follow orders. Magellan offered no explanation. There was seriousness in his eyes. Impel Down, since the Marine was built, only the legendary Golden Lion has escaped. Even the Golden Lion escaped with 2 broken legs. This is Impel Down, where Shinigami seem to live. But, after hearing the news, Magellan felt vaguely uncomfortable. This feeling went straight to my mind. As if he couldn't solve this crisis. That feeling lingered in Magellan's mind. He is not a person who believes in fate or follows his feelings. But at this moment, he felt that if the gate of the world was not closed, Impel Down would very likely cause a world-sensational commotion. Impel Down the second floor. Lin An finally joined Luffy. At this time, Luffy gathered many strong people around him. Ivankov from Shemale Island, Lightning from Revolutionary Army, Mr. 1 from Original Baroque Studio, Bentham from Mr. 2, etc. It doesn't stop there. There are dozens of people who are several times stronger than Supernova. The number of people reached 10,000. The lineup is so luxurious that even if the entire Whitebeard Pirates came over, it would probably take a lot of time to kill them. Luffy and Buggy did the task that Lin An arranged for them. But the impetus to destroy the entire Impel Down still left Lin An speechless. What's the matter with you two? Listen to Lin An's reproach. Buggy and Luffy immediately turned on each other. It's not that bastard Luffy, he insists on. It's all Buggy bastard, he. For a while, Buggy and Luffy began to argue. In this way, Lin An hammered his forehead speechlessly. He knew that it was not reliable enough to let these two guys do things. Originally, according to his expectation, Impel Down would not be noticed until he reached at least the second floor. After all, there were so many people that there was no way to hide them. But at that time, you only need to rush outside quickly, grab the marine warship and leave. However, listening to the descriptions of Luffy and Buggy, it caused commotion on the fifth floor. But it's okay. At least the first task was met. Moreover, a heavyweight helper like Ivankov was rescued. Although it can't be regarded as equalizing merits and demerits, it's okay. Lin An kid. Ivankov looked at Lin An. He has been imprisoned here for an unknown amount of time. However, I also knew Lin An's identity through Luffy, so I have no objection to Lin An's leadership. There's something wrong with Impel Down. Obviously the fifth floor caused riots, but the jailers of Impel Down didn't go to stop it. Instead, it moves upward. If my predictions are correct, it should be that Magellan knew that such a large-scale escape would be impossible to stop, and planned to forcibly block us on the first floor. Magellan is a super strong person who has cultivated the poisonous fruit to the awakening level. If he guards the gate, it will be difficult for us to break through. I think so. Lin An nodded. However, now we can only take one step at a time. Go and rescue the prisoners on the first floor. If the jailers can gather together, the prisoners in Impel Down will naturally gather together. Talking, Lin An took the lead and went directly to the third floor. Luffy Buggy followed behind Lin An. Jinbei, Crocodile, and Ivankov scattered to the two sides, paying attention to the sneak attack of the jailers. Arrived at the first floor. Everyone drives the Shikai to save the prisoners. To know, although Impel Down is big, the first floor has the largest number of people. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is crowded. Suddenly, Lin An's team expanded 5 times. Straight to 50,000. Moreover, these are all powerful people who forced the world government to be thrown into Impel Down. Sure enough, it's here. The first floor, or the gate leaving Impel Down. Magellan took all the Impel Down high-level officials of Impel Down and the jailer beasts to guard the front. Surrounding the gate are about 30,000 jailers waiting. It can be seen that they will never allow the prisoners to escape from Impel Down. Through the window near the Impel Down gate, you can see the sea behind, and the sun-soaked gate is gradually closing. Not good. Seeing this scene, Ivankov panicked. The door that is about to be closed is the door to the world. If it's closed, even if we can beat Magellan, we won't be able to get to Marineford. That's it. To this, Lin An also shrank his pupils. For the first time, 1.3 showed tension on his face. If that's the case, then we don't have to be polite to him. Kill directly. There was a murderous look in his eyes. Lin An has no hidden strength or other ideas. Armament hockey suddenly appeared around him. Above the fists, cracks appeared around Lin An's fists. Shock fruit. Magellan looked at Lin An's fist with a surprised expression on his face. But soon, he calmed down. As the warden of Impel Down, he is most familiar with the dangerous people on the sea. Lin An is one of the people he pays most attention to recently. Chapter 62 Fierce Battles, Terrifying Poisonous People. Advertise here. Chapter 62 Fierce Battles, Terrifying Poisonous People. Is that the most beautiful person in the ocean recently, pirate instructor, Lin An. There is only one owner of shock fruit. That's Whitebeard. And people who have similar abilities to shock fruit, and also have the ability to sneak into Impel Down and make trouble. That's the only one left. A dark purple color emerged from Magellan's body. This includes armament hockey, but more is the ability of its own poisonous fruit. This kind of jelly-like body, coupled with his poison that would kill him if touched. It gave Magellan a possibility that no one else could get close to. This is the basis for him to be comparable to Admiral's strength. During the conversation, Magellan also walked quickly. It is absolutely impossible for Lin An to be dealt with by ordinary jailers. Only he did it himself. Boom. For a moment, the fists of the two sides met together. For a while, shockwaves scattered. The jelly-like venom on Magellan's poisonous hand was also opened. These two forces, whether it is vibration or venom, have prevented the possibility of the people behind both sides from advancing. For a while, 24 the original massacre of nearly 100,000 people was cut apart by the abilities of Lin An and Magellan, and turned into a one-on-one duel. Open black lens bracket you picked up a devil fruit growth experience, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you picked up an armament hockey perception experience, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you picked up a power, close black lens bracket. In the confrontation with Magellan, Lin An directly picked up 3 attributes. Looking at Magellan in front of him, Lin An was also surprised. He knew that Magellan would be very strong, but he didn't expect Magellan to be so strong. Especially the fruit experience, even the growth experience of the devil fruit dropped by Kizaru is not bad. I didn't expect that a person of my younger generation would be remembered by a strong person like you. Ha ha ha. Magellan laughed heartily. At this time, he also felt relieved. Although he can feel Lin An's strength is very strong. However, he also completely blocked the way for the prisoners to leave impel down. This made him relax a bit. Don't say that. The identity of Whitebeard's heir is difficult for others to know. During the conversation, the two separated. That is quite true. Lin An shook his hand. Fortunately, with the protection of armament hockey, it didn't hurt him. But, Lin An also learned how strong Magellan's poison is. His own armament hockey may not be as good as Garp, the strong man who really stands at the top of the world. But definitely world class. However, armament hockey is still gradually eroded by Magellan's poison. Horrible. Horrible to the ultimate. Now that you know my identity, then get out of the way. Let's stop wasting each other's time. During the conversation, the vibration in Lin An's hand was even stronger. Cracks appeared one after another, and then he hid them in his fists. Shock. Break. The voice fell. Lin An has already punched out his fist. Well done. Magellan also condenses the energy of the poisonous fruit. One punch to Lin An. Bang. Another fist bump. Open black lens bracket you picked up a devil fruit growth experience, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you picked up an observation hockey experience, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket you picked up a piece of stamina, close black lens bracket. The 3 attributes were absorbed by Lin An. Looking at Magellan's calm expression, he smiled slightly. You don't think I'll fight you head on, do you? At this time, there was a puzzled expression in Magellan's eyes. He didn't know the meaning of Lin An's words. But, in the next second, he understood. Release. A roar. The shock fruit that Lin An had just entered into the fist immediately poured into Magellan's body along the fists of both sides. Boom. 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 There was a sound of collision. There was a vibrating sound. Next second, Magellan's body exploded. Get out. Get out. At this moment, watching Magellan's body scattered from the sky like rain. Whether it was the pirates or the impel down side, they all commanded the people below to disperse with fear on their faces. This poison. But there is no solution. No. Killed Magellan with one punch. The pirate side looked at the scene in front of them and was dumbfounded. So strong. Ivankov shook his head. Magellan is fine. He was physically out of the way the instant he was hurt. Lin An's vibration only acts on his body that resembles a poison clone. However, having said that, Lin An is better than Magellan for sure. Ivankov is the older generation strongman. He also shoulders multiple identities such as the king of the monster country and the cadre of the revolutionary army. He has met a lot of people. But the person who can win Magellan for sure has never thought about it. Sharp. As if echoing Ivankov's words. The scattered venom gradually condensed. Magellan's body appeared in front of Lin An again. In terms of personal strength alone, I am not your opponent. Magellan readily admitted that he was inferior. But it's not easy for you to win me. And all I need to do is hold you back until the gate of the world is completely closed, and that's it. During the conversation, Magellan's body was expanding rapidly. The whole person instantly blocked the whole side. Even if they walk side by side, it can accommodate hundreds of people in the huge passage. Giant of Poison Judgment of Hell 520. Open your mouth calmly. Magellan's body has been reshaped. A huge figure like a demon crawling out of hell appeared in front of Lin An. Warden. Invincible. See this scene. The people on the impel down side also went crazy. When the poison giant comes out, it represents invincibility. The poison giant's venom is Magellan's body condensed by releasing his own venom, and he can hide himself in it. Even if the poison giant is shattered, it cannot harm Magellan. In this form Magellan is invulnerable. Even if it is Admiral, or even the 4 Emperors, it can only be a headache and there is nothing to do. Marvelous. Pirates, I want to see how you will pass our warden's level. To be honest, it's really difficult. Looking at Magellan who turned into a poisonous giant in front of him, Lin An also scratched his face. It was also a little difficult for a while. But even so, the answer given by Lin An is just difficult, not completely impossible. Isn't it just to eliminate the poison of the poison giant soldier first, and then cause damage to your body? Simple. Chapter 63 Victory. Led an army to Marineford. Advertise here. Chapter 63 Victory. Leading the army to Marineford. Lin An spoke calmly. arms folded over chest. This scene is almost exactly the same as Whitebeard's posture when the Summit War started. At this moment, all the shock fruit energy was gathered by Lin An from his body to his fists. A series of cracks visible to the naked eye are spreading towards the surroundings. Quote. Lin An looked in Magellan's direction. In theory, it would take a long time even for Lin An to kill Magellan. However, if it is just to beat him back and prevent him from interfering with leaving Impel down, there are still other ways. After all, no matter how strong Magellan is, he is only a demon fruit power after all. And as long as it is demon fruit power, there must be a common weakness, that is, fear of sea water. This is, looking at Lin An's posture, Ivankov's eyes widened. Being well informed, he naturally knows what Lin An is going to do. Could it be that? Ivankov looked directly towards the gate of Impel down, his eyes filled with disbelief. You don't want to destroy the gate directly, do you? Guess right. Lin An responded to Ivankov. That's right, Lin An intends to directly use the shock fruit to ruin the direction of the Impel down gate, making Magellan fall directly into the sea. In this way, Magellan will be incapacitated for a short period of time due to the sea water on his body. That's the quickest way to fix Magellan. But, regarding this, Ivankov showed a hint of worry in his eyes. The construction of the Impel down is made of special materials, and even some sea stone is mixed in at a critical moment. Even if you have a fruit ability similar to shock fruit, you have also accepted Whitebeard's personal teaching. But if you want to destroy Impel down, how can it be so easy? Kill. Surrounded by pirates. Just at this time, the jailers on the lower 5 floors behind have also gathered. More than 30,000 people rushed forward to encircle Lin An and others. Now the front has been blocked by the warden, and they are already the turtles in the urn. To this, the pirates behind had to send out some people to stop it. The crisis broke out immediately. If the current problems cannot be solved quickly, then Lin An and his party, who are under attack from both sides, will definitely be left behind. What's more, with the passage of time, the gates of the world are gradually being closed. Lin An and others have reached the point where there is no turning back. This time, Lin An didn't respond. Don't argue with others when they don't believe in themselves. If he did, he would naturally shut up. Break. With Lin An's roar came out. Endless shock fruit energy poured out from Lin An's body at this moment. Under the control of Lin An, all the shock fruits were directly used in front. Boom. There was a loud noise. The whole world seemed to be in chaos at this moment. About 1/3 of the Impel down was directly destroyed under Lin An's control. How come? To this, Magellan looked panicked. The jailers behind him, the masters of Impel down, were also panicked. But, Lin An's shock erupted in an instant. Even Magellan fell into the sea in an instant, let alone anyone else. Warden. As soon as Magellan fell into the sea, the thunder giant disappeared immediately. People also lose power directly and briefly. The more than 30,000 jailers behind him became drowned. Come on. After Magellan fell into the sea, Lin An directly used Moonwalk and directly came to one of the 4 warships parked outside Impel down. Take control of a warship alone in the direction of Impel down. See this situation. Ivankov, Crocodile, and Jinbei also all learned from each other. Go directly in the direction of the warship. The 4 warships were directly controlled by them and came to the door of Impel down, which revealed the structure inside. During this period, many jailers were directly killed. Get on board. Lin An directs. Soon, the pirates boarded the ship one after another. Each of the 4 warships contained more than 5,000 people. There is a vague sense of overloading. You can still go. Hurry up. Listen to what Lin An said. The pirates behind who blocked the jailers laughed. Pirate instructor. Right. We remember you. You are a hero, and you are the legacy of the new generation in the hearts of our pirates. The warship is about to be overloaded, and we've had enough of making a fuss in Impel down. You guys go first. Stopping the jailers, the remaining 30,000 pirates did not intend to leave. Also, if we leave, your warships will not be able to stop the artillery bombardment of Impel down. Instead of saying that everyone leaves together and then dies in the sea, it is better for you to go first. Similar voices abound. Among them, there are more than 30,000 people, and it is impossible for everyone to think so. There were still people running to the boat. However, most people have decided to stay. They all said the reason. Good. Looking at the more than 30,000 pirates, Lin An nodded. Although I understand that they are just involuntary, not really making selfless sacrifices. But this style is still impressive. Lin An, let's go. The gate of the world will be closed in a while, and we won't be able to leave. If there is a chance for us to go out, we will go and join you again, and don't forget the brothers when the time comes. Good. Lin An nodded again. Calmed down a little bit. Everyone on board pay attention. Immediately familiar with the position, the division of labor is clear, and the round is clear. Heading to Marineford now. This is the time when this group of prisoners are most likely to escape, so they are naturally extremely obedient. Lin An rushed forward with a boat. Ivankov, Jinbei and Crocodile each controlled a boat and followed Lin An. Although warships are much more complicated than pirate ships, they are also complicated in terms of weapons. Sailing can still be well controlled by Zhao. The 4 ships were quickly controlled by them. A group of more than 20,000 people sailed in the direction of the Gate of the World. Later, because there were more than 30,000 pirates helping to resist, Impel Down could only watch Lin An and the others leave abruptly, and didn't even have a chance to shoot. Asshole. I do not know how long it has been. Magellan's angry voice penetrated Impel Down and half the sea to Lin An's ears. This guy, he recovered quite quickly, and was also surprised by this. He looked in the direction of Impel Down. It seems that the farce of Impel Down is coming to an end. Lin An is gone. More than 30,000 pirates are just a lot of ants in front of Magellan. Chapter 64 The Alliance Fleet Forges Ahead, Sengoku's Conspiracy. Advertise here. Chapter 64 The Alliance Ship Group Forge Ahead, Sengoku's Conspiracy. Lin An has already left Impel Down. If you follow the sea area inside the World Gate, you can reach Marineford in half an hour at most. But here in Marineford, the war has entered a fierce stage. Kill. With the elite of the 50,000 Whitebeard Alliance fleet, they arrived. The Whitebeard Pirates, who had already shown a little decline, rose up again as if they had been shot with adrenaline, and tore up the defenses of the Marines one after another. In just a moment, they had landed on the land of Marineford. Kizaru, no matter how you look at it, you don't look like you can be a Marine. Margot in the battle looked at Kizaru in front of him. Although he is not Kizaru's opponent, but with the ability of the Phoenix Fruit, holding Kizaru is not a problem at all. It's better to take this opportunity to turn against Marine. Reverse Marine. Listening to Margot's words, Kizaru seemed to hear the funniest joke in the world. And then being hunted around like dogs by Marine like you. A laser beam penetrated Margot's body in an instant. Even with armament hockey, Margot recovered quickly. This burst of bumping and testing. Kizaru hit Margot in the heart no less than 20 times and blasted Margot in the head no less than 10 times. However, the ability of the Phoenix Fruit is really too pervert. Even there is no way to really cause too much effective damage to Margot. 253. Tisk, troublesome, a headache opponent. Aokiji. Another battlefield. Joes directly dug out a huge ice block with a diameter of more than 10 meters on the ice. Aim in the direction of Aokiji and lose it. Using ice cubes to deal with me, a frozen man, are you thinking too much? Aokiji held out his hand. An icicle extended from his hand. The sharp icicle instantly shattered the ice cube. Immediately afterwards, Aokiji quickly came to Joes. The ice cubes rushed towards Joes like crazy. Ah! Joes yelled at this. A series of armament hockey spun out from his body surface. Punch after punch fell on these ice cubes, and his own shiny fruit was also activated directly at this time. For a while, Josie and Aokiji have already fought to the point where you and I don't know each other. Mahawk. Not far away. Other battlefields also have their own battles. The captain of the 5th Division, Foil, Beasta directly found Mahawk. It's interesting. Mahawk draws out his black sword to meet the enemy. The swordsman Foil in New World is the swordsman he recognizes more. But, just the Foil sword is not enough to force him to use all his strength. Other parties also have captains, vice captains, or masters from the 43 pirates, countries, islands, or forces as resistance. For a while, the Whitebeard Alliance fleet managed to suppress Marine. Step by step, it is killing the hinterland of Marineford. Did you see it? This is the strength of our Whitebeard Alliance fleet. This victory directly excited everyone in the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. See that, Skuyard. On the Moby Dick, Whitebeard pulled out the knife that the Eddy Spider stabbed at him, and there was no blame in his eyes. Look, what do you see? The Eddy looked at Whitebeard suspiciously. At this moment, feelings of remorse had already been born in his heart. If I'm really just using you, why are all the people in front of me from the headquarters of the Whitebeard Pirates? At this, Whitebeard smiled slightly. He opened his mouth to explain again. Ah, the big vortex spider showed doubts on its face, and reluctantly controlled its mood to look in the direction of the battlefield. Margot and Joes are fighting Admiral. The captains and vice captains of the major teams are also fighting Shichibukai or elite vice admirals. Even the little pirates of the Whitebeard Pirates are at the front as much as possible at this time. The rest of the Whitebeard Alliance convoy were assigned to as safe a place as possible. This, shaken. Or maybe he didn't really believe that Whitebeard would betray them. It's just that the pressure of going to war with the entire Marine is too great, so he has to think wildly. And at this time, Akainu's words obviously became the last straw that broke the camel's back. At this time, the war has already begun, and the pressure will naturally disappear. Plus, after really seeing the facts on the battlefield, I didn't quite believe that Whitebeard would sell out their Eddy. How could they not understand why? Earth. B. Look at Whitebeard. The big vortex spider tears freely. The whole body is filled with the word remorse. I'm sorry, Dad. Why? Whitebeard glared at the Eddy spider. Open your hands and hold him directly in your arms. No need to say sorry. But, the big vortex spider burst into tears as it felt the warmth of Whitebeard's body. But I hurt you. You don't blame me. Gu la la la. A trademark smile appeared on Whitebeard's face. Although you are indeed a little stupid. However, even if you are a silly son, I still love you. Akainu, who was hiding in the dark, looked in the direction of Whitebeard, with a speechless expression in his eyes. It's really difficult. Whitebeard, the old guy's charm is too great. While talking, Akainu walked towards the direction of the battlefield. Akainu, how did he come out from behind? When did Akainu come to the rear? This time, Akainu's actions are not hidden. It was quickly discovered by the pirates of the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. Immediately someone rushed to Akainu. The opportunity to slay Admiral is at hand. Come on, brothers. Marine is the last. Sengoku watched the battle in front of him. Obviously Marine is at a disadvantage. Even when he was almost crushed and beaten by the pirates, he still didn't panic at all. There was even a look of relief in his eyes. Although there was a lot of interludes, Whitebeard even managed to bypass my first line of defense. However, my plan has not failed. What is the purpose of Sengoku? Of course, to destroy the Whitebeard Pirates. So, how can it be done? Of course, it is to lead everyone in the Whitebeard Pirates to a place where they cannot escape. Kizaru, the plan is going very well. The phone bug dialed. Sengoku went straight to Kizaru. You get rid of Margot now and let someone else take over. As for your task now, it is to entangle Whitebeard so that he has no time to take care of the battlefield. Chapter 65 The more you fight, the braver you are. Kizaru takes the shot. Advertise here. Chapter 65. The more you fight, the braver you are. Kizaru takes the shot. At this time, Kizaru and Margot had just finished a round of fighting, and the two sides distanced themselves. Listening to the news from the phone bug, Kizaru nodded immediately. Without saying a word, he left Margot's side directly. Stop. Margot panicked when he saw Kizaru leaving. His main task is, hold down an admiral. At this moment Kizaru left, which made Margot a little confused. He chased after him directly. However, just halfway through the chase, 3 elite vice admirals stepped on moonwalk to stop Margot. Don't worry. Looking at the 3 elite vice admirals, Margot narrowed his eyes slightly. Out of the corner of his eye, he has been paying attention to the direction Kizaru wants to go. Well, since you want to play, let's play. During the conversation, the flames around Margot instantly became surging. Kizaru was heading in the same direction as Whitebeard was. At this moment, he planned to get rid of the 3 elite vice admirals in front of him as soon as possible, and to support Whitebeard as soon as possible. Sengoku direction. He didn't stop after ordering Kizaru to go and harass Whitebeard. Whitebeard is the 4 emperors, and is recognized as the strongest man on the sea. Just being an admiral is clearly not enough. The phone bug dialed again, this time he dialed Akainu's number. Good job. Of course Sengoku knew about Akainu's plan. It's total war after all. Even if the overall strength of Marine is stronger than that of the Whitebeard Alliance fleet, it is even more than twice as strong. But in such a war, it is impossible to completely guarantee victory, and any small change may affect the direction of the entire battle situation. Akainu's behavior is naturally acquiesced by Sengoku. Next, you go cooperate with Kizaru and hold Whitebeard down. Akainu, who was right behind the Whitebeard Pirates, nodded after hearing the call. Clear. After speaking, he also rushed in the direction of Whitebeard. Only, he doesn't have Kizaru's speed. It will take some time to be surrounded by Kizaru. Now send the order down. After notifying Kizaru and Akainu, Sengoku called the communication department again without stopping. Kizaru and Akainu were just steps he took to distract Whitebeard. In the entire Whitebeard Alliance fleet, Whitebeard is the only one worthy of his urgent needs. As long as he can be restrained, even if he has no time to think, it is enough. The next step is the main thing. Regulate the army, divide the Whitebeard Alliance fleet as much as possible, and destroy it. Winky. Kizaru was already in front of Whitebeard at this time. It's just that he didn't get close to Whitebeard in the first place. Cross your arms around your shoulders and make an, okay, gesture. The sparkling fruit energy of the whole body was completely twitched by him. Dazzling flashes of light appeared between his hands. 8-foot Chong Guyu. Read out the name of the move. Laser beams shot out from Kizaru's hand. Attack in such a way as to completely cover Whitebeard. In the blink of an eye, nearly 1,000 lasers have reached Whitebeard's body. Is there another brat? At this time, the Eddie Spider had gone to the front line to fight under the arrangement of Whitebeard. He was the only one on the Moby Dick at this time. Seeing the approaching laser, Whitebeard didn't panic. The whole body exudes endless energy. This admiral is already on top of the world, but in his opinion, he is just a brat after all. This is true both in terms of strength and age. Shock fruit was mobilized out of the body by him. Cracks seemed to separate Whitebeard's and Kizaru's lasers. Barrier. Boom. The first laser beam fell on this barrier very quickly. Boom. 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 Immediately afterwards, countless laser beams fell on it like raindrops. Tisk. The 8-foot Chong Guyu is exhausted. Kizaru clicked his tongue. He's really a tough old guy. Wait until the smoke clears. The Whitebeard inside is revealed. His 8-foot Chong Guyu couldn't even get close. Ha ha ha. See this scene. The pirates who were a little worried at first laughed out loud. You want to beat Daddy too? Are you dreaming? I really don't know what you're thinking. Didn't Aokiji's tragic situation just now make you realize that Dad is not something you Admiral can handle? Kizaru naturally didn't care about the taunts from the pirates. But the Marines are not happy. Joke, why do you have to defend yourself if you are so awesome? If you're afraid of getting hurt, just say you're afraid of getting hurt. How can there be so many excuses? Ask for flowers. For a while, in addition to the fire and blood battle with swords facing each other, there is another battlefield between pirates and Marines. That is the war of words. After a while, the pirates took out Whitebeard's various records and bragged wildly. The other side will also use how many strong players the admirals have captured to counterattack. This moment, because of the quarrel between Marine and the pirates, this bloody battlefield is much more lively. Amazon Cloud Sword. Kizaru saw that the long-range attack was not successful. Then he also chose the path of close combat. As soon as he made a move, it was the most condensed Tiankongan sword. Rays of light emanated from the two-handed broadsword condensed by Tiankongan sword. Kizaru slashes straight at Whitebeard. Well done. See Kizaru shot. Whitebeard's eyes lit up. Admiral-level opponents have not been encountered for a long time for Whitebeard, who has been on the throne for a long time. Although Aokiji just said that he shot with all his strength, the two sides only passed one move, which was not enjoyable. At this time, Whitebeard was also excited by Kizaru, and shot directly. The Qinglong Yanyu knife in his hand was slashed out at this time, and the target pointed directly at Huang Yuan's head, the man of life. Clang. A metallic clang sounded. Kizaru's Amakongan sword was cut off by Whitebeard. And the trend continues unabated towards Kizaru. Whoosh. Kizaru elementalized and went straight out of Whitebeard's reach. Want to run. It was as if he had noticed Kizaru's movements long ago. The tip of the Whitebeard Qinglong crescent knife did not know when there was a white spot of light. This point of light exploded rapidly. A series of cracks extended towards Kizaru in an instant. Horrible. Kizaru watched these cracks coming directly towards him, and also gave a slightly apprehensive evaluation. The whole body exudes endless light energy. Use light energy as shield and defense. It can be regarded as blocking Whitebeard's pursuit. Very good. Seeing Kizaru's appearance, Marine shouted excitedly. Kizaru Admiral Mighty. Chapter 66 Akainu joins the battle, Whitebeard 1 vs 2. Advertise here. Chapter 66 Akainu joins the battle, Whitebeard 1 vs 2. Kizaru blocked Whitebeard's attack, and the Marines were very happy. But, after all, it just blocked Whitebeard's attack. Pirates immediately retorted, Yo-yo, isn't this Marine? It's been a few days since I've seen you like this. It's just blocking our father's attack, so happy. Dead pirate, you are courting death. Unsurprisingly, the Marines immediately lost their temper like a kitten being stabbed. Looking for death. I'm afraid it's not you Admiral looking for death. For a moment, the pirates and Marine became even more brutal, and the two sides played desperately. It was a complete exchange of lives, and the number of casualties increased instantly at this moment. It's just you, it's not good. Akainu finally arrived. Sided with Kizaru. It's really not good. Kizaru smiled bitterly and shook his head with 020. The knife just now, if he hadn't dodged quickly, although it could not be fatal, it would have made him extremely embarrassed. For Akainu's arrival, Kizaru is not surprised. This is a strategy that Marine has long studied. Don't look at Marine's embarrassment at this time, but the strategic goal has not been lost. If the two of us are together, I don't know if we can make Whitebeard serious. Who can say this well? Even the confident Akainu gave an ambiguous answer at this time. Is there another little doll? Whitebeard jumped straight off the Moby Dick. 4 emperors is stronger than Admiral. But the strong returns to the strong, the gap is not so outrageous. To deal with 2 admirals, even Whitebeard, the strongest among the 4 emperors, must be serious. Waving the Qinglong Yanyu knife in his hands with both hands. There were streaks of brilliance and murderous intent in his eyes. In an instant, endless pressure rushed directly to Huang Yuan and Yan. What a coercion. Such a strong conqueror's hockey. To this, both Kizaru and Akainu couldn't help taking a step back. Can't help but express emotion. Shocked. With just one look from Whitebeard, the 2 admirals, Kizaru and Akainu, were scared back. That title must be very catchy. The reporters who had been watching for a long time were writing again. Start writing your next newsletter. The war between the Marine and the Whitebeard Alliance fleet this time can be said to be their source of news material for this year. So much news. It must be well organized. Amazing. Whitebeard is worthy of being the strongest man in the sea. I can't understand. Who is the one who hosted the Hongmen banquet? All kinds of headlines appeared in the pens of reporters. Whitebeard, don't be so arrogant. Marineford rear. Sengoku watched the situation on the battlefield with a murderous look in his eyes. At this time, the objective of dispersing the Whitebeard Alliance fleet has been achieved. The phone bug dialed again. Send the order, the Marineford city wall is ready. Kacha kachacha. Catch, click, quickly. A mechanical sound sounded. The island of Marineford is like a crescent moon. The place where Whitebeard emerged from the bottom of the sea happened to be at the gap in this crescent. The land is a series of walls. At this time, the sound of these machines sounded. Pieces of huge wall panels made of unknown materials gradually emerged from the ground. The thick wall panels are a full 5 meters thick and spread to the entire Marineford coastline not far behind. This is what it means to completely trap the Whitebeard Alliance fleet on the coastline of Marineford. Broken. Hit. At this time, Margao had already dealt with 2 of the 3 elite vice admirals in front of him. Looking around, he understood what was going on. He quickly turned into a phoenix and flew into the sky. It doesn't matter if you don't look at it, but you will be shocked when you see it. The Whitebeard Alliance fleet of more than 50,000 people was divided into several pieces by Marine at this time. This is clearly a plan to disperse and then exterminate them. Everyone, be careful. Gather together. Don't scatter. Did you find it? Marineford is at the end. Sengoku was already standing on the execution platform, next to Ace. He stared calmly at everything that happened in front of him. It's too late if you only find out now. Ace. At this moment, a huge figure appeared on the battlefield. With a huge height of nearly 40 meters, it is a bit taller than the city wall that Marine built for Marineford. Little Oz. Now the only existence with the blood of an ancient giant. I'm here to save you. See little Ozzy coming. Ace on the execution platform directly buried his head on the wooden board of the execution platform in pain. Tears flowed down the face onto the execution platform. Why? At this time, Ace recalled the time with little Ozzy in his mind. The 2 are friends and brothers. He also once gave Ozzy a straw hat. That hat was enormous. In order to weave the straw hat, Ace spent a lot of time looking for suitable straw, and spent a lot of time to finish the straw hat. Oz, you shouldn't be here. Go. Otherwise, your huge body will only become a live target for shells. A roar came from Ace's mouth. He was really worried about little Oz. No. Little Ozzy's answer was also very firm. There is only Ace in the eyes of the whole person. Boom. 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 Since little Ozzy appeared on the stage, countless shells have bombarded him. The fort, which was originally unusable because the Marine and the pirates had been intertwined, was now available again. Giant Yamato's frequent artillery fire and bullets fell on little Oz like raindrops at this time. So many shells and bullets have formed a bombardment zone. In a place like this, even Whitebeard can get hurt. Not to mention little Oz. Not for a while. Blood was already all over little Ozzy's body. However, little Ozzy didn't have any intention of backing down. He didn't even pay attention to the shells and bullets that wounded him. Ace seemed to be the only one in his eyes. 1.4 inches. We are brothers. Brother is in trouble. How can I stand idly by? That straw hat of yours is very comfortable to me. Little Ozzy's touching voice sounded. The infectious power even moved the Marines, and the artillery fire and bullets stayed for a short while. However, an enemy is an enemy after all. To be kind to your enemies is to be cruel to your own people. In the next second, more intense artillery fire hit little Ozzy again. However, little Ozzy was not moved by it. The whole person ran quickly. Ace. Little Oz's voice rang throughout Marineford. I'm here to save you. Chapter 67. Little Ozzy died in battle, and Whitebeard was dying. Advertise here. Chapter 67. Little Ozzy died in battle, Whitebeard is dying. Such a tearful scene. Ace burst into tears. The lacrimal glands look like they are about to dry up. Ah, Sengoku sneered. He spoke again in a neutral tone. Look at you. How much trouble did it cause them? The war is not over yet. The pirates have already suffered thousands of casualties. When the war is over, how many people will die because of you? Even if you don't care about those members of the Whitebeard Alliance ship group, it also includes those members of the Whitebeard Pirate group. Speaking of this, Sengoku pointed forward. That seems to be the vice captain of your 3rd team. The one who died in the battle should be the vice captain of the 7th division. Several people who have a lot of status in the Whitebeard Pirates were named one after another. Sengoku looked at Ace again. If it wasn't for you, how could they have killed and injured so many people? If it wasn't for you, those people wouldn't have died. Enough, Ace roared. His eyes were full of despair. At this moment, he no longer had any anger. He is very clear. The purpose of Sengoku's words is to completely dispel his resistance and let him die. 24. But to know is to know. He really can't stand this conspiracy. The lips twitched slightly. Ace said with a touch of despair, kill me. Even if the time is not up, the execution should be done in advance. Ace thought clearly. They came to save themselves, as long as they died. Whitebeard would naturally lead the retreat. Hee. Out of the corner of his eye, Sengoku glanced in the direction Garp was in. Others may not understand, but he knows Garp well. Although it was calm, it was cramped, and even the emotion of being at a loss was hidden in the trembling right leg. Impossible. Just watch as the Whitebeard Pirates are destroyed. Desperate. Lost. For a moment, Ace looked up at the sky as if he had become a living dead. His mind flashed back to his life, what he had done in the past 20 years. Do not enter. At this time, 7 people had appeared in front of Little Aussie. All 7 are elite vice admirals. Stepping on moonwalk directly blocked in front of the little dwarf. Iron plates are rising behind them. If you continue, wait until the iron plate is fully raised. Then the Whitebeard Alliance fleet really became a turtle in a urn. There is no possibility of saving Ace at all. It doesn't stop there. Even they themselves will be trapped in it. Go away. Little Oz didn't care that much. The big knife in his hand turned directly. Don't get in my way to save Ace. Isn't it the giant race? It's not that Laozi hasn't been killed before. An elite vice admiral went up to him with a knife in hand. He has killed several giants, and even giant warriors. In his opinion, Little Oz is just a bigger giant family. Clang. There was a sound of metal clashing. Boom. Next second, the elite vice admiral flew upside down in an instant. It directly hit the newly rising steel wall. A mouthful of blood spat out from his mouth. He immediately lost consciousness and collapsed to the ground, not knowing whether he was alive or dead. Let's go together. The remaining 6 elite vice admirals were scattered directly. Since storming doesn't work, they will use the fly tactics. Little Aussie made a big shot of Kamui, and he shot an elite vice admiral in seconds. Seeing this, the other pirates immediately followed. But, just when they ran to a place not far from the steel fence, Little Aussie staggered. His body was hit by at least thousands of shells. Ah! A howl of pain came from Little Oz's mouth. The pirates following Little Oz followed the voice. Little Aussie had already been breached by the attack of 6 elite vice admirals. Being able to persist until now is already remarkable. No, all the pirates roar. But, Little Oz is gone. The huge body fell directly. It was directly pressed against a steel city wall. The hand is gradually raised. Little Oz looked up into Ace's face. Hey. Boom. I can tell. Little Oz wanted to touch Ace one last time. However, he couldn't do it. Little Ozzy's death stung the desperate Ace again. An angry roar sounded. He was going to break free from his chains and go see Little Ozzy. However, in the next second, he was pulled back by 2 ordinary executioners. Another place. Kizaru and Akainu were really good. Already pushed Whitebeard to a corner. Even, Whitebeard's signature mustache had been cut in half. Daddy, Margao, Josie and the others were also panicked. Returning immediately to support Whitebeard. You too. At this time, Aokiji stopped in front of the 2. Huge blocks of ice directly made a wall. Whitebeard is tough. At the beginning, we also planned to go out with 3 admirals, trying to kill him. However, guess why the final plan only let Kizaru and Akainu get on? Listen to Aokiji. Margao and Josie did not speak in silence. Does this need to be said? That is to keep the 2 of them from interfering. Leader of the era, die. Akainu was about to kill Whitebeard. At this time, Akainu's voice sounded again. Follow the sound. By this time Whitebeard was exhausted. Although Akainu and Kizaru were also very embarrassed. His face was covered in blood. But, definitely better than Whitebeard. Akainu even raised his right 760 punch. If this punch hits, Whitebeard must die. No, Margao, Josie and others roared. They want to go back to the rescue. But it is entangled by various enemies. Don't want. Dad. Fear. Despair. At this moment, everyone in the Whitebeard Alliance fleet looked in the direction of Whitebeard with similar expressions. Unbelievable. Incomprehensible. Then there is the sadness. The invincible father in their hearts might really die in front of them. Shock. At this moment, cracks appeared as Akainu made his way to Whitebeard. Immediately afterwards, a golden flash pierced the sky. Earthquake. A roar sounded. The golden light dissipated. A figure gradually appeared. It is Lin An. I saw Lin An's fist containing shock fruit energy hit Akainu directly on the face. Bang. After a muffled sound, unprepared, Akainu directly hit Lin An's punch. Fly out directly. He tilted his head and passed out. Seeing this, Lin An quickly looked in Whitebeard's direction, and let out a sigh of relief. Fortunately, we caught up. Chapter 68 Lin An's strength shocked the world. Advertise here. Chapter 68 Lin An's strength shocked the world. Boom. Lin An's voice fell. A loud bang resounded through the entire Marineford. Waves of shock spread from around Lin An. In less than a minute, the sea surface frozen by Aokiji shattered directly, and at this moment the entire ice block also began to shatter, finally fell into the seawater. Not only that, the ground in Marineford also began to shake. A crack extended from Lin An's feet. The crack runs right through the entire Marineford. The power of just one punch actually split the island of Marineford into 2. Because this punch happened to be on the land, it immediately stirred up endless smoke and dust, directly covering the entire coastline. Fine. Surrounded by icebergs. Otherwise, this punch will definitely cause a second tsunami no weaker than Whitebeard. How come? This power is not weaker than Whitebeard's, is it? On the execution stand, seeing the power of Lin An's punch, even Sengoku is not calm at this time. Whitebeard is on the verge of death under the siege of Akainu and Kizaru, 2 admirals. It is impossible to use such a strong force again. Who used this move? In order to be able to arrive as quickly as possible, Lin An directly activated the sparkling fruit after seeing Marineford. Only then did he come here dangerously, preventing Akainu from killing Whitebeard. Seeing that Whitebeard's beard had been knocked off in half, Lin An quickly walked up to Whitebeard and helped him up. Father, are you all right? It's okay. Whitebeard shook his head, and he could even laugh at this moment. At least he's not dead, is he? Lin An frowned slightly. Just because Whitebeard says it's okay doesn't mean it's okay. His eyes swept over Whitebeard's body, and soon he locked on the knife wound on his chest. Pupils shrink. Who did this? Sensing something was wrong, Lin An quickly walked behind Whitebeard. Whitebeard has always been brave, either the enemy dies, or he dies. There was never any harm in the back. However, now there is a knife wound. Just do some calculations on the angle. This knife wound is the one on the chest. It broke through in front and directly penetrated Whitebeard's body, not to mention the two admirals besieged. Even with the best of Marine, it is absolutely impossible to do it. Then, there is only one possibility. Whitebeard was ambushed. Not important. Whitebeard shook his head slightly. At this time, the surrounding smoke and dust gradually dispersed. The onlookers outside finally saw what was going on inside. Lin An instructor. After seeing Lin An, everyone in the Whitebeard Alliance fleet was excited. I knew it was you, boy. Marco looked at Lin An supporting Whitebeard with a look of relief on his face. After all, similar ability to shock fruit, but also has the combat power level to at least repel Admiral's strength. In the whole world, there is only Lin An. It's a good thing you're here. Joes also breathed a sigh of relief. He was already desperate just now. Asshole. Quickly. After being happy, the members of the Whitebeard Pirates began to complain. Everyone is fighting desperately. Where did you die? We thought you were afraid and didn't dare to come. There were voices of complaints one after another. All of them are from the headquarters of the Whitebeard Pirates. Although some members of the Alliance fleet have a good relationship with Lin An. But complaining to Lin An, they still dare not. Ha ha. Lin An smiled awkwardly. Of course he knew that these guys were concerned about him. After bringing Whitebeard back to the Moby Dick, Lin An came to the front of the battlefield again. I, of course, went to increase our chances of winning. Lin An's rescue plan failed. The root cause of the failure wasn't that he didn't have enough time. Rather, Ace has been proposed by Sengoku from the very beginning. Unless it is said that he rushed to Impel Down immediately and only went to Impel Down after hearing the news, it would be too late. But, fortunately, he and Rayleigh have a plan, but it's not a waste of time. As this the most popular pirate instructor these days, Lin An. Looking in Lin An's direction. Marine also showed curious expressions. Before the matter of Ace was fermented, the biggest news in Yinhai had always revolved around Lin An. Since the capture of Beast's pirates, Drought, Jack alive, he has been the focus of the world's major powers. Capture Beast's pirates, Jack the Drow, alive. Trained by Whitebeard himself. Earned the title of pirate instructor. There is even a big disturbance of Impel Down and bringing out 20,000 pirates, and forcing Kizaru Admiral to run away in embarrassment. These big events that are no less than some at war are not known to others. They are tired of hearing Lin An's name these days. Number way. Marine looked at Lin An with disbelief in his eyes. I know this guy is going to be tough, but he can beat Admiral. Beat what beat? As soon as the Marine's voice fell, he was denied by the people next to him. Akainu Admiral just didn't notice for a while because he was concentrating on dealing with Whitebeard. Coupled with the fact that Akainu Admiral consumed a lot of stamina fighting Whitebeard, and Lin An's sneak attack, this made him succeed. But, this sentence makes a lot of sense. However, it is still not possible to make all Marines obey. Although the title, Whitebeard Pirates Instructor, is mentioned. It stands to reason that his status in the Whitebeard Pirates is no less than that of Captain Fan. But he's just a vice captain. It's incredible that a vice captain can beat Akainu Admiral. Silence. Complete silence. Even if the Marines don't want to think about it. Unwilling to understand, and even maliciously distorting, getting Wang Zhao, this matter. But facts are facts. And it's something that can't be refuted at all, and it's directly in front of you. Lin An. Sengoku looked at Lin An's direction and narrowed his eyes. Although your appearance was an accident. However, this punch of yours also helped me solve the problem that the more than 300 warships could not sail. Report to Marshal Sengoku. It's not good. There are traitors, and the warships are fighting each other. What? Listening to the words in the phone bug, Sengoku froze. Frowning with an unbelievable look. How is it possible? The combatants of this summit war were all carefully selected before being recognized. How could there be a traitor? Chapter 69 Injecting New Power. The battle situation changes again. Advertise here. Chapter 69 Injection of New Power. The battle situation changes again. Department of Communications, immediately send someone to investigate what's going on. After receiving Sengoku's order, the people from the communication department quickly went to investigate. It wasn't long before they started contacting Sengoku again. Marshal Sengoku, the results of the investigation are out. Say it. Sengoku looked serious. If it is said that traitors can appear under the scrutiny of Summit War, this matter is even more desperate than the Summit War loss to Whitebeard. It's a pirate. It's not that there are traitors in our army. There are pirates driving the warship. Beep. Beep beep beep. At this time, the whistle of the Japanese warship sounded. 4 warships full of people quickly sailed into the port from the sea outside. Yes, after the ice on the sea surface is destroyed, our more than 300 warships will be able to come to support. The Whitebeard Pirates, which have already shown signs of defeat, are still alive. The moment first saw Marines are happy, even if the strength of the Marines of the warship is nothing compared to them. But, that's a warship. Each warship has dozens of artillery pieces. Only the long-range support of artillery and guns is enough to kill all the people of the Whitebeard Alliance ship group who are already at a disadvantage. 643, it's over. Pirates and Marines have exactly the same idea. At this time, the warship was seen entering the port. The whole person is not well. Even, some people have begun to have the idea of running away. Either, let's run first. Don't worry, everyone. Just when the Whitebeard Alliance fleet was shaken, Lin An spoke again. These warships are not from Marine, but I have brought them here for everyone. Rescue. At this time, the Whitebeard Alliance fleet and Marine, a total of 200,000 people, had question marks in their hearts. Next second, the question marks in their hearts completely disappeared. People from the 4 warships soon came down. In the lead are Jinbei, Ivankov and Crocodile. The rest were a group of prisoners in prison uniforms. These people, totally a bunch of prisoners. How about the loss of warships? On the execution stand, Sengoku was also restless. He also had no idea what was going on. Those prisoners numbered about 20,000. But the problem is, how did they snatch the warship, and where did they get prisoners from Lin An? Report to Marshal Sengoku Yuan, CEFC, because of the sudden incident, the warships exchanged fire with each other in a panic. 37 were completely destroyed. More than 120 warships were injured. The remaining warships are also more or less damaged. Hiss. Ha. Take a deep breath. Sengoku was a little dazed. He asked again. So, can the remaining warships support the battlefield? Cannot. Communications and intelligence responded very quickly. The answer is not good news. Depend on. At this time, not even Sengoku can hold back. He thought that Lin An was the only one who came here. Although it was troublesome, he also rescued more than 300 warships trapped in the ice. Lin An's arrival not only did not bring difficulties to the Marines, but helped Marines solve the problems left by Aokiji. Marshal Sengoku. At this time, Sengoku's phone bug rang again. A rushing voice reached Sengoku's ears. Before Sengoku could speak, there was a voice again. It's bad, Impel Down was breached by Lin An, and now he has taken 20,000 prisoners to Marineford. The person on the other side of the phone bug was still flustered. The sounds of beating, killing and killing continued one after another. Obviously, this is also the moment when the Impel Down side found an opportunity to deliver the news. Quote. Sengoku was about to ask for details. The phone bug has hung up. Obviously, the person who delivered the message was either killed or stopped. Depend on. Another curse. Sengoku looked at the prisoners who came down from the warship one after another. Finally, I set my sights on Lin An, who was appeasing the Whitebeard Alliance ship group. I know you are difficult to deal with, but I didn't expect you to be so difficult to deal with. At this time, Sengoku thought of the day when Kizaru fled back to Marine in embarrassment. I have some regrets in my heart. If I had known, I would have sent Aokiji or Akainu to kill you first. If Sengoku did it, then Lin An is absolutely certain to die, even with cheat in hand. Already out of strength, there is no way to survive if he faces another heavenly general. Pity. There is no regret medicine in this world. The current Lin An is the existence that can change the situation of this Summit War. You haven't contacted us for so long, where have you been? The arrival of Lin An made Whitebeard's death impossible. In order to avoid being besieged by the Whitebeard Alliance ship group and the prisoners brought back by Lin An, Kizaru directly took Akainu out of here temporarily. Aokiji, who was blocking Margao and Josie, also moved out of the way. Margao moved closer to Lin An. He looked at Lin An curiously. Also, who are these prisoners? Where did you get it? It's like this. Lin An is not stingy either. He basically said everything that happened after he went to Sabayati Archipelago. Fight Kizaru, sneak into Impel Down under Rayleigh's arrangement, make a big noise in Impel Down after knowing Ace's news, and then bring these prisoners to Marineford. Probably so. No matter how detailed it is, I'm afraid you don't want to hear it very much. I'm too lazy to say it. After speaking, Lin An looked around. Marco, Joes, even Whitebeard looked at Lin An in astonishment. After they knew Lin An's itinerary, they had no complaints against Lin An. What shocked them was that it was Impel Down. Even if the Golden Lion came out of it, 2 legs would be crippled. Lin An not only escaped from inside unscathed, even brought out more than 20,000 pirates. This matter, it is no longer lost to the big event of Summit War. What's wrong? Lin An looked around, with curiosity in his eyes. Although he also knows that this matter is not easy. But it's not that surprising, is it? Sharp. Margao gave Lin An a thumbs up. Impressed. Joes is also convinced. The rest of the Whitebeard pirates are pretty much the same. Lin An. At this time, Whitebeard also spoke again. Lin An looked in Whitebeard's direction. At this time, Whitebeard's face showed an expression of admiration. According to Margot, Whitebeard's expression is only seen on Roger, Sengoku and Garp. Chapter 70 The Boost of Impel Down, the second round begins. Advertise here. Chapter 70 Impel Down's boost, the second round begins. Admiration, it is very rare for a person to show such an expression. Only when he did something that he couldn't do at all, or something he couldn't imagine at all, would he have such a look. And it's even more incredible that someone like Whitebeard, who has already stood on the top of the world, can show such eyes. Looking at Lin An, Whitebeard smiled slightly. I saw you right. Talking. Whitebeard looked towards the prisoner. The three people standing in the front are all people he is familiar with. Jinbei, Ivankov and Croc, Doll. Especially Crocodile. There is still a lot of origin between the two parties. Tisk. Crocodile clicked his tongue at the sight of Whitebeard. Still so stubborn. At this, Whitebeard smiled slightly. How about it? Would you like to come to my boat? I can set up a separate team for you and let you lead it. No. Talking. Crocodile left the vicinity with a speechless face. Jinbei and Ivankov also left. The current situation is not favorable for the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. They must join the war as soon as possible, in case the Whitebeard Alliance fleet can't stand it anymore. Then their joining is not a timely help, but a fueling tactic. Rush. Kill. A group of prisoners were all captured by Marine. The resentment towards Marine is not insignificant. Now there is still the Whitebeard Alliance fleet in front, and I only need to support it. At this time, it can be said that the new hatred and the old hatred directly retaliate. Oh shit, it's over. The Whitebeard Alliance fleet was originally an elite group of people who had been selected. At this time, it is reflected that it was divided by Marine and did not collapse. At this time, with the support of the prisoners from Impel Down, the front line was opened again, and they were no longer isolated. Suddenly managed to counterattack Marine. The battle line, which had been stopped by Marine, was vaguely advancing towards the execution platform again. Marshal, you can't go on like this. On the execution stand. Sengoku's phone bug is about to explode. We managed to suppress the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. Now that the prisoners of Impel Down are added, if we continue to hide our strength, it will not be enough to suppress them. Listening to the successive battle reports from the phone bug, Sengoku was also full of anger. If there are only 20,000 prisoners, then there are only 20,000 donkeys, and no matter how many there are, they are just trash. But the crux of the problem is that these prisoners are prisoners from Impel Down. Let's not talk about the elites. Among them, there are dozens of supernova-level powerhouses with bounties exceeding 100 million. These people are enough to entangle the Rear Admiral and Vice Admiral of the Marine part. Not to mention Ivankov, the super criminal of the Revolutionary Army, and Jinbei, Crocodile, the two former Shichibukai. It can be said, prisoners from Impel Down joined, directly disrupting all deployments of Sengoku. At this time, the combination of the Whitebeard Alliance ship group and the Impel Down prisoners is not to mention hiding their strength. If you don't resist, you may even be directly broken through. The whole army joins the battle. Everyone goes all out. At this time, Sengoku couldn't care less about anything else. At least the matter in front of you must be resolved first. No longer contacting the communications department through phone bugs. For the sake of efficiency, directly transform into a Buddha. He directly displayed the power of his fruit, and amplified his voice as much as possible through the Buddha fruit. With Sengoku's voice resounding throughout Marineford. Successively, many teams emerged from Marineford. It even contains a lot of Rear Admiral, Vice Admiral. Shichibukai, if you don't want to be stripped of your titles and hunted down by Marine again, then give Laozi your best shot. In front of all Marine, Whitebeard Confederate ships and Impel Down prisoners. In front of the video phone bugs communication to the world. In front of all the news media in the whole world. Sengoku dropped all dignity and grace and just sweared. To this, Doflamingo had a look of thought on his face. It seems that Lin An's scheme really gave that old fellow Sengoku a headache. While talking, Doflamingo walked directly behind Marineford, and gradually moved towards the battlefield. It can be seen that he does not intend to be serious with the angry Sengoku. Anyway, even if he makes a move, it is impossible to offend the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. You bastard. Doflamingo just stepped into the fray. Crocodile stopped in front of him. It's better not to mix with those weak people. Yo hey. Seeing Crocodile standing in front of him, Doflamingo made a deliberately surprised expression. Ask for flowers. Isn't this the former Shichibukai who was killed by the supernova? What? Escaped from Impel Down with the help of others, that's it. Or, you forgot about that. Moria's huge body shifted away. I can fight and be serious. But, this little Aussie's body must be given to me. Moria thought that after Oz was gone, he would never be able to accomplish his goals. Unexpectedly, the previous pillow had just been thrown away. Then came a new pillow. As for being defeated by Luffy, Moria didn't take it to heart. Luffy is playing tricks, but in terms of strength, Luffy is not his opponent at all. Moria hasn't been arrogant for too long. Jinbei stopped in front of him. .0. Oh, he looked at Jinbei in front of him. Moria showed a surprised expression on purpose. Isn't this the idiot who didn't even want the title of Shichibukai in order to refute the summit war? A huge figure rushed out from Shichibukai's position without hesitation. It is the tyrant bear in Shichibukai, Bartholomew Akuma. Ivankov beamed when he saw him. Directly in front of him. Bear, I can tell. Ivankov and he are old friends. Not too bear-proof. Are you guys still alive? At the same time. Mihawk also shot. However, he was ridiculously stopped by Buggy. Master Buggy, go. There are even some pirates cheering for Buggy. So, are you going to be my enemy? Look at Mihawk in front of you. Buggy swallowed. Where does he have the guts? But the situation is pressing now. Buggy can only point the weapon in his hand at Mihawk. Today is your death day. The last Shichibukai, the pirate queen Boa Hancock also shot directly. Standing in front of her is Luffy. Brother Lin An said, I can easily deal with you. Chapter 71 Respective Battles, More Intense Wars. Advertise here. Chapter 71 Respective Battles, More Intense Wars. For a time, both the pirates and the marines showed their best. Everyone gave it their all. So, do you think you can win against me? Crocodile looked at Doflamingo in front of him with a flat expression. It was embarrassing for him to lose to Luffy. But that's because he was found vulnerable by Luffy. This also made him realize a truth from it, that is, never underestimate a person. Luffy won, and he admitted that Luffy should have won. But only once. No. Doflamingo raised his hands. Silk threads invisible to the naked eye flew out of his hand. Shred Crocodile in seconds. Pity. Crocodile just turns to sand. It doesn't have much of an impact. Hiss. Take a sip of the cigar. 870. Crocodile looked at Doflamingo in front of him. Trying is unnecessary. It's really unreasonable for masters like you and me to play such a child's family thing. Ha ha ha. Jinbei. Moria looked at Jinbei in front of her, eyes filled with disbelief. I didn't expect you to be reduced to the result of being saved by others. Have you ever thought that you will have today? Not before. Jinbei shook his head. The possibility had really never crossed his mind. Jinbei is full of confidence in his own strength. Where there is water, Jinbei can even fight Admiral. But it's not impossible. Isn't he being rescued now? Jinbei was very indifferent to the fact that he was rescued. He is a pacifist, and helping each other is the norm in life. Even what happened with former Captain Tiger didn't change him. Hee. I found my sarcasm was useless. Moria's eyes gradually darkened. It's better to rely on yourself than to rely on others. At the end of the day, all requests for help are in vain. I can tell. Moria is also a person with a story. Naturally, Jinbei also knew this story. You're insane now. Jinbei gathered the power of Murloc Judo with both hands. Although I really want to enlighten you, but now I have something to do. If you won't get out of the way, then don't blame me for being rude. You're welcome. Moria's sharp voice sounded. I don't know when an extra pair of scissors appeared in my hand. I want to see how you are rude to me. During the conversation, Moria has rushed towards Jinbei. Why, to this? Jinbei sighed. A drop of water has gathered in the hand at some point. Murloc Karate Tang Kawa Righteous Fist. Moment. Jinbei's body penetrated Moria's body. Next second, Moria fell to the ground. With just one move, the Shichibukai battle, which was thought to be grand and spectacular, turned out to be victorious. It's not just these two places that are fighting. Buggy actually blocks Mihawk with Chop Chop Fruit. Because Luffy was immune to Hancock's petrification, although he was beaten badly, he barely blocked Hancock. Joes went to stop Aokiji again, preventing Aokiji from intervening in the battlefield. Margao also approached Kizaru again. The Whitebeard Alliance fleet also holds the best of Impel Down's prisoners. They also each found a strong man they could deal with. The following Marines and pirates also started a complete fight. 150,000 Marine. 70,000 pirates. For a time, they completely blended together. People are dying every minute of every second. At every moment, there are masters withering. The Naval Headquarters Marineford, which originally represented justice, became an earthly Shura field for a while. Human meat grinder. Lin An glanced at Whitebeard at this moment. Father, are you alright? Lin An stayed here mainly to protect the weak Whitebeard from being attacked. It's okay, I've recovered a bit. To show his physical condition, Whitebeard stood up. Although it is said that the injury on the body will not heal for a while. However, his physical strength did recover a little. Today's Whitebeard, even if Admiral comes to fight him again. It was impossible to win Whitebeard for a while. Hearing Whitebeard's answer, Lin An nodded. Okay. Then I'll save Ace first. Talking. Lin An stepped on Moonwalk. Heading to Ace's execution stand. Hee hee. You don't really think it's that easy, do you? Just at this time, a voice entered Lin An's ears. Akainu's figure stands in front of Lin An. Fine. See Akainu appear. Everyone on Marine's side breathed a sigh of relief. At this time, Shichibukai sent out the Marine side. There are really no other masters available. Lin An is already no one can come to guard against. Akainu Admiral, come on. Quickly. Then someone cheered for Akainu. But they didn't dare to be too arrogant. For one thing, Akainu has exhausted most of his physical strength after the shocking battle with Whitebeard. Secondly, Akainu was defeated by Lin An just now. Although it was a sneak attack, it can prove something. I didn't expect to be defeated. Lin An looked at Akainu in front of him, without much expression on his face. He didn't think he took much advantage of Akainu. A full release of shock fruit in Impel Down, a full release of shock fruit in Marineford. In Guise, which is the fight with Magellan and the Rush. Lin An's physical strength is not much stronger than Akainu's. As for the sneak attack just now, it can only be said that Akainu was careless and did not guard his surroundings. This is the scene of war. Do you want Lin An to abide by the rules of the arena? I advise you to step aside. Otherwise, if you lose to me one more time, your reputation in Marine will drop to freezing point in the future. This is not a threat, and naturally it cannot shake the bed dog's heart. Looking at Lin An, Akainu's body gradually transformed into magma. He said calmly, "Go down and fight, you and I are not masters in air combat, are we?" 1.6. That's true. Lin An nodded, cancelled the moonwalk and landed on the ground. The same is true for Akainu on the opposite side. Fist of lava. Just landed. Akainu directly called Lin An. The fist that had already turned into lava had come to Lin An. This punch naturally carried armament hockey. Once hit. Even Lin An will be disfigured. Well done. In this regard, Lin An did not show any dissatisfaction. Because he has already prepared the energy of shock fruit. At this time, the right fist is also directly delivered. Cracks spread out from his right fist. Chapter 72 The Battle of Eyes, Lin An vs Akainu. Advertise here. Chapter 72 The Battle of Eyes, Lin An vs Akainu. Bang. There was a loud bang. Lava and tremors instantly swept the surroundings. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Listening to the voice from the system, I felt the changes in my own strength. Lin An is still very satisfied. He didn't care what kind of person Akainu was. At least, this attribute growth is real. Come again. The fight between Lin An and Akainu. It can be said that it is the most eye-catching among the countless battlefields in Marineford today. One is Admiral with the highest combat power in Marine. The other is the pirate instructor, Whitebeard's heir Lin An. Whether in terms of status or strength, the battle between the two sides is the top of all Summit War battlefields. It's really shock fruit. At this time, Whitebeard sitting on the Moby Dick watched Lin An's battle, frowning directly. The reason for the misjudgment before is because Lin An's scope of use is very small. This caused Whitebeard to not study Lin An's fruit ability too carefully in the past 24. But, after the earthquake, just now, there is still the current method of use. If Whitebeard still can't see that Lin An is using shock fruit, then he will have lived his life in vain. How can this be? But, recognized. Those who should be confused should still be confused. This world does not know how many years it has existed. It has been recorded that one person can own more than one devil fruit. But there has never been a record that a devil fruit can be owned by two people at the same time. Quote. Looking at Akainu in front of him, Lin An directly concentrated the shock energy of the shock fruit on his right fist as much as possible. After the battle with Kizaru, Lin An has a stronger strength than Admiral, although not much, but it is indeed more than Admiral. Plus the attributes picked up in Impel Down. Especially the fight with Magellan. At this time, Akainu is no longer Lin An's right. Breaking the military. With Lin An's fist hit. A series of cracks formed near the right fist. Facing Lin An's fist. Akainu is still proud. He clearly remembered what Kizaru had said. Although Lin An is very strong, as long as I give my best, I am not completely invincible. Although you are very strong. But as long as I get serious, then you will never be my tail. Akainu's lava condenses, and gradually a dog's head appears on it. He is on par with Kizaru and Aokiji. It doesn't make sense. Kizaru can't win against someone who can win with all his strength. This is where Akainu's confidence lies. Lava, back to the dog. During the conversation, Akainu also threw a punch. A hell dog that seemed to crawl out of hell formed in his arm. Immediately, I met Lin An's fist. Boom. There was a loud muffled sound. Akainu and Lin An stalemate again in the middle. For a while, no one could do anything to anyone. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a devil fruit growth experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up an observation hockey experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a piece of agility. Close black lens bracket. Another 3-point attribute enters the body. Lin An also felt a headache looking at Akainu in front of him. Although he is indeed stronger than Akainu. But at this level of master, it is not easy to kill the opponent easily. See, this is the instructor of our Whitebeard Pirates. See, Lin An and Akainu draw a tie. For a while the pirates cheered and jumped up. Your so-called Marine Admiral will lose to our instructor twice in a row sooner or later. Just blow it. Hearing what the pirates said, someone from Marine immediately refuted. Akainu and Lin An looked like they were just tied. And in the visual range, the spread of lava is obviously stronger. In the eyes of the uninitiated, Akainu has an advantage. All of you admit that just now Lin An's ability to beat us Akainu Admiral was just a sneak attack. Isn't there really anyone who thinks anyone other than 4 emperors can beat Admiral? Ha ha ha, it's funny to see you Marines being stubborn. How could the pirates make Marine so proud? It sounds nice. Then Akainu was punched and passed out just now. Is it our fault? For a while, Lin An and Akainu have not even distinguished their strengths and weaknesses. The pirates and Marines quarreled first. At the same time, those journalists from all over the world are writing hard. After the 2 admirals just sent out the news of Whitebeard's fat beating. Immediately came new news. Shocked, Whitebeard's successor is brave and invincible and F***KS Admiral, Akainu has no choice but to pass out. How is it possible? There are people in this world who make Admiral miserable. Crazy. All of a sudden, various headlines were sent from journalists from all over the world to their respective headquarters. And it is delivered from the headquarters to all parts of the world. Interesting. In the battlefield, Lin An and Akainu separated again. Akainu still has a certain advantage over Logia. Shock Fruit's shock aftermath is useless to him. After all, Lin An is able to add armament hockey the moment the shock fruit energy is released. The aftershocks are completely helpless. And shock fruit's damage, to a certain extent, comes from aftershocks. You're not bad either. Akainu looked at Lin An in front of him. The eyes are also full of dignity. This moment, he also understood why the yellow 598 was so exhausted by Lin and that he fled back to naval headquarters in embarrassment. This guy's strength is indeed impressive. At this moment, both fists turned into lava again. Akainu looked at Lin An in front of him, and roared again, lava. With Akainu increase the power of lava fruit as much as possible. His right fist has become extremely huge at this time. Even, in terms of fist alone, it is bigger than little Ozzy's fist. Jun. This must be Akainu's ultimate move. To this, Lin An is also serious about it. The energy of one after another shock fruit converged on Lin An's right fist. The energy of these shock fruits was not compressed by Lin An this time. Instead, let them spread in the air presumptuously. For a while, the endless cracks seemed to tear the space apart. Jing'an directly covers the surrounding tens of meters. Great eruption. The ability is invoked. That huge lava fist, bigger than little Oz's fist, rushed directly to Lin An. Empty shock. Lin An is also assembled. Controlling the energy of the shock fruit, it rushed directly to the direction of Akainu. Bang. The fusion of 2 huge energies produced a huge explosion in an instant. Chapter 73 Shock the World, Akainu is defeated. Advertise here. Chapter 73 Shock the World, Akainu is defeated. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a moonwalk experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Another 3 attributes entered the body. Feel the power coming from Akainu's fist. Lin An took a deep breath. Go. A roar. Shock Fruit's ability burst out again at this moment. In the next second, it directly overturned the sky. For a while, Akainu could only retreat, and he couldn't even control his body in a short time. What? Akainu was beaten back by Lin An in a head-to-head confrontation. Although today, Akainu has been deflated several times. But the first few times it was Whitebeard. That's all within reason. Lin An was also a sneak attack just now, and it doesn't count. But it's different now. This is exactly Akainu being suppressed head-on by Lin An. Definitely shock fruit. On the execution stand. After seeing Lin An's fruit ability, Sengoku frowned. At this time, he thought of the previous intelligence analysis on Lin An and Kazaru's evaluation of Lin An. Could it be that the bastard guy really made a breakthrough in man-made devil fruit? Guy Sarah took Vegapunk devil fruit research things he knows. However, that was just a waste case. Besides, he knows Guy Saw, although he is very talented, but he always thinks about some crooked ways, and he doesn't really want to seriously think about the rigor of scientific research. It stands to reason that even if Guy Saw made some progress, it would definitely not be too big. Looks like I need to send someone to see what Guy is doing. If Lin An is really the one behind the reproduction of shock fruit and sparkling fruit, then even if Marines plan to deal with Whitebeard fails this time, it is acceptable. The idea of Sengoku is very simple. That is to reproduce the powerful devil fruit. For example, the 3 Logia devil fruits mentioned. As long as it can be done. Well, Marine doesn't talk about mass-producing admiral-level powerhouses. After all, if you want to achieve admiral's strength, Hockey's cultivation base still has to keep up. But at least it is possible to mass-produce elite vice admirals, even powerhouses at the vice admiral level. If such a strong person can reproduce it. Not to mention flattening the new world. It is not difficult for Marine to become independent from the world government and overthrow the world government. Akainu. Backquote. Lin An took a step forward and quickly approached Akainu. Seriousness was written all over his face. You must also think that the reason I was able to defeat you just now was because of a sneak attack. If not, Akainu echoed Lin An's words. At this point Akainu has come to a standstill. I admit that your strength is very strong, but if you want to defeat Admiral, you still lack some energy. Seeing Lin An rushing towards him, the power of lava began to condense on the hands. Lava. As Akainu fully erupted the power of lava. His arm has now turned into a hellhound. The dog gnaws the red lotus. Ha ha ha. Listening to Akainu's words, Lin An laughed. On weekdays, even when being chased by Marine, Lin An would tease Akainu for a while before letting him go. But it's clearly not the right time to do that. Then, let me show you the strength of pirate instructor. The energy of shock fruit quickly gathered on Lin An's right fist. Those cracks expanded rapidly outward at this time, and were quickly mobilized back by Lin An. With the rapid approach of Lin An and Akainu, Lin An swung his right fist. Breaking the military. Blast out with a punch. Shock fruit energy poured out. Directly tore apart Akainu's hellhound. Imprinted directly on Akainu's face. With just one punch, Akainu was sent flying. The huge shock fruit vibration energy directly acted on Akainu's body, tearing Akainu's body apart in an instant. How can it be? Really? For a time, the whole world was in an uproar. Everyone looked at the video in the video phone bug and all showed similar expressions. That is surprise. Admiral's strength ranks in the first echelon in everyone's mind. Lost at the hands of the four emperors, they have nothing to say. But losing to someone other than the four emperors, no matter it is an ordinary person, a marine, or even a pirate, it is inconceivable. This. At this time, not only outsiders are unbelievable. Even the rest of the Whitebeard Alliance ship group that has been maintaining Lin An has been stunned. They still believed what Marine said. After all, that was heaven. But I didn't expect that Lin An would be so powerful. How can this be equal to Admiral? This is the strength that can beat Admiral violently. Too strong. Lin An instructor. That's too strong. For a while, cheers sounded. See, this is our Whitebeard Pirates. What is your Admiral? What's the use? Crazy. Completely crazy. Lin An's record directly stimulated everyone. How come? The Marines were also in a daze. Looking in complete disbelief in the direction Akainu fell to the ground. At this time Akainu has passed out. Because of the characteristics of Logia Devil Fruit, Akainu was not directly killed by Lin An. However, it is limited to not being killed. And it was the second time he was beaten unconscious by Lin An. This time it was not a sneak attack, but a head-on confrontation. It can be said that it directly blocked the possibility of their sophistry again. For a while, the whole battlefield came to a standstill because the battle between Lin An and Akainu was over. The audience was silent. Everyone looked in the direction of Lin An in disbelief. This kid. Garp stood up slowly. Looking at Lin An's direction, he frowned. His expression was extremely tangled. This is not because he is afraid of Lin An's strength, but because there is no block from Akainu. Then the only ones who can stop Lin An are Good Zhao, him and Sengoku. In a war, it is impossible to shoot easily. So, he was the only one left. Why? Sighed. Garp slowly walked towards the execution platform when everyone was focusing on Lin An and Akainu. Damn it. Regret. Now there are only two words in Sengoku's heart, regret. He had a chance before. No, it can definitely kill Lin An. It's just because they have to prepare for the Summit War, and Rayleigh is not easy to deal with, so they didn't make a move. It has been nearly 80 years since Sengoku came to this world. There wasn't much he could regret. Lin An's life and death were ranked behind Summit War before, and this is one of them. Chapter 74 Ace, I'm here to save you. Advertise here. Chapter 74 Ace, I'm here to save you. Ace, I'm here to save you. Familiar words resounded throughout Marineford again. It was said by Whitebeard, it was said by Little Oz. Said by everyone in the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. However, this time, it really made the Marines feel scared. Others are just slogans and beliefs. And Lin An is very likely to succeed. Lin An ignored the rest of Marine, and glanced at Akainu from the corner of his eye. His condition is not good. Although he is not dead yet, he is not far from death. And it has also been protected by the Marines. From the looks of it, it is obvious that they intend to transfer it to the rear medical staff for treatment. To this, Lin An did not interfere again. The most important thing now is to save Ace. Look back. Lin An set his sights on Ace on the execution platform. Moonwalk is used. Originally, Lin An simply understood Moonwalk, and he learned it by himself. Now after picking up Akainu's Moonwalk experience, The speed is more than twice as fast as before. In a blink of an eye. Just across the coastline of Marineford. Cross the steel wall that Sengoku prepared for the Whitebeard Alliance fleet. Seeing that he was about to reach the execution platform. Boy, stop. At this time, a voice rang in Lin An's 907's ear. Immediately afterwards, a gust of punching wind hit. Lin An couldn't react too much at this time. Instinctively raised his arms to resist. And gather armament hockey as much as possible on the arm. Boom. There was a muffled sound. Lin An was hammered directly to the ground. Vice Admiral Garp. It's Hero Garp. Vice Admiral Garp strikes. For a while, the Marines who had already fallen into pessimism became excited again at this time. I saw Garp standing in front of the execution platform with a flat face. He just stood there, giving the Marines an endless sense of security. This is the energy at the heart of Marine. It can even reverse any unfavorable situation. Lin An, right. Moonwalk was cancelled. Garp slowly landed on the ground, looked at Lin An on the ground and spoke indifferently. If you want to save Ace, go to the old man's doctor first. Look at Garp. Lin An stood up straight from the ground with a carp. He can still feel the pain in his arm now. If it weren't for the instinctive gathering of armament hockey, this left arm would be considered useless here. You are also Ace's grandfather. Do you really want to see your grandson die here? Garp was silent. Why doesn't he want to let Ace live? If Ace followed his advice and became a Marine, even if it is revealed that Ace is the son of Pirate King Gul D. Roger, he still has a way to save Ace. After all, Roger's son became Marine. Marine is also happy to see such dramatic and publicity news. Coupled with his reputation and contacts in Marine, even if Ace is promoted to Marine Admiral, it is absolutely not impossible. After all, Ace's talent is also very strong. Even if you don't go to the Whitebeard Pirates, you can't get Mera Mera fruit. He also has a way to get other Logia devil fruits for Ace to enhance Ace's strength. But, all this is just a thought. The result now is that Ace has become a pirate. And he is a Marine. Don't talk, do you? Pretending to be a master. Lin An was angry. Raise the left hand and place the right hand on the palm of the left hand. Xing Shan, 8 directions Han sword. Following Lin An's words, a Bafang Han sword was drawn from Lin An's hand. It also has conquerors wrapped around it. This is Lin An's strongest strength today. Facing a strong player of Garp's level. That punch just now was definitely not Garp's full strength. Shi Zhong was like that. Lin An was close to being destroyed with 10 arms. However, Garp has scruples after all, and Lin An doesn't have to use all his strength directly. Then let's fight. Talking. Lin An stepped forward. Straight across the distance between him and Garp come to the front of Cassette. The Bafang Han sword in his hand has already, CEFB, pierced towards Garp's chest. Having said that, Garp's expression was slightly shaken. But he still had no intention of stepping aside. Pirates are the evil of the world after all. I will never let you pass today no matter what. Talking. Garp's fist instantly turned black and purple. The huge armament hockey directly swept the surroundings at this moment. Suddenly, 2 small tornadoes formed under Garp's feet. This is the strength of Garp, the owner of the strongest armament hockey in the world. Bang. There was a muffled sound. The two were deadlocked in place. One must know that Lin An still had a run-up in order to achieve this kind of result similar to that of a commoner. It is enough to see the gap in strength between the two. Open black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up an observation hockey experience, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a power, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a piece of agility, close black lens bracket. For a while, there are about a dozen attributes dropped from Garp's body. The picking up of these attributes even surprised Lin An himself. Especially the attribute supplement of armament hockey. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a qualitative change. This is not an opponent he can beat today. Lin An quickly made a judgment. But Garp looks weird too. Obviously, he is also struggling. If that's the case, then it's easy to handle. Garp. Lin An took a few steps back, looking straight at Garp. Are you saying that you are so ruthless? Garp did not respond. His body moved forward quickly. The speed was so fast that Lin An almost didn't react for a while. Clang. A metallic clang sounded. Lin An's Bafang Han sword was almost shattered by Garp's punch. Fortunately, it survived in the end. Lin An quickly replenished the energy of the sparkling fruit for the Bafang Han sword in his hand. But there was no intention of stopping. That's an ace. The grandson who has lived with you for more than 10 years. Even if you don't have any blood relationship, is the time he lived with you a fake? Garp looked at Lin An. There was a look of disgust in his eyes. That's sparkling fruit. At the same time, all eyes on and off the battlefield were focused on Lin An. Although Lin An only used the creative ability of sparkling fruit. However, the reputation of sparkling fruit has spread all over the world in the hands of Kizaru. Impossible. It is impossible to have two identical devil fruits at the same time. Lin An's devil fruit should be the lower fruit of sparkling fruit. Chapter 75 Painful Garp. Advertise here. Chapter 75 Painful Garp. But, even so, he already has 2 devil fruits. Isn't a person only allowed to have 1 devil fruit? For a while, everyone's attention was more or less restrained by Lin An. At this moment, the entire battlefield seemed to be controlled by Lin An alone. Enough. Garp looked at Lin An, his whole face contorted. You think I want this? An angry voice shouted from Garp's mouth. The figure of Ace could not help appearing in his mind. He has sheltered Ace since he was born. Otherwise, how could Marine not be able to find Ace after searching such a large area? He put more effort into Ace than Long and Luffy, his own son and his own grandson. At this moment, Ace's smiles, Ace's mischievousness, and Ace's politeness all floated back and forth in his mind. But, where the responsibility lies, there is no way. Armament hockey was wrapped around Garp's hands. The whole person became irritable. The right fist hit Lin An without hesitation. Quote. Facing Garp's angry punch, Lin An didn't dare to be careless. The energy of shock fruit began to condense on the Bafang Han sword. It is the same fighting skills as Whitebeard condensed on Qinglong Yanyu knife. And, Lin An's trick is only more powerful than the trick Whitebeard used. After all, this is a trick that combines the abilities of shock fruit and sparkling fruit. Empty shock. For a while, Garp's fist collided with Lin An's Bafang Han sword. Bang! There was a muffled sound. Lin An blocked Garp's punch. Open black lens bracket. You picked up an armament hockey perception experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up an observation hockey experience. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a piece of intelligence. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a piece of agility. Close black lens bracket. Another dozen attributes were picked up. Watching Garp Lin An speak again. More than 10 years, so you are indifferent. It's useless. Garp looked at Lin An's face, his expression gradually calmed down. However, this is only superficial calm. The dodge in his eyes can still see his hesitation. I don't care about him, he's just a child of One Piece, he's just an evil pirate. Nonsense. Lin An directly refuted Garp's words. If you really don't care so much, then why are the tricks you use so weak? That's right. Garp's tricks at this time have been messed up. He was not as ruthless as he was when he first shot Lin An. The only thing that is still supporting the fight against Lin An is the marine professional ethics that has lasted for decades. Enough. Enough. Garp took a few steps back. He showed pain on his face, and he was already troubled enough about Guan Yu Ace. At this time, Lin An turned over the offensive repeatedly, almost tearing up his psychological defense. Stop talking. Stop talking. Impossible. How could Lin An give up when he saw that mouth escape was useful? He directly vetoed it. Experts who can use mouth to solve Garp level can be said to be the best choice. You know, Lin An's physical strength is not much now. Not only does he have to save Ace, but he also has to escape from Marineford with the Whitebeard Alliance ship. There are many places that require physical strength in the follow-up. Save as much as you can now. I can't believe you have no feelings for him. How could it be so emotionless? Garp protested angrily. The whole person punched Lin An again. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket. You picked up a piece of stamina. Close black lens bracket. This punch, not to mention soft and weak, is about the same. Not even armament hockey and observation hockey are dropped in the attributes. There are only 2 of them. This is obviously impossible for a master of Garp's level. After all, even the severely injured Akainu can drop at least 3 attributes, and Garp has never fought with others, so he is completely full now. How could it only drop 2 attributes? Then, there is only one possibility for this possibility. Garp didn't want to fight anymore. Then, don't be an accomplice. The Bafang Han sword in Lin An's hand suddenly stabbed Garp. Push Garp back a few steps again. Or, do you really want to watch Ace die? And then live the rest of your life in regrets and complaints? Having said that, Lin An paused for a moment. His tone became much softer at this moment. Ace, he is your grandson after all. Enough. Enough. Stop talking. Garp is angry. Run away. An incomparably huge armament hockey was condensed on the pair of fists, and even had a vague momentum. Just hit Lin An directly. No matter what he says, he is just a pirate after all. See Garp like this. Lin An was also taken aback. Could it be that you were in a hurry? At this time, if he tried to hide his strength in the face of the angry Garp, he would undoubtedly be committing suicide. However, just when he wanted to show his full strength and find a way to kill Garp, Lin An found a clue from Garp's painful face. Although a bit risky. Even with the possibility of being killed, Lin An still resisted the idea of showing all his strength in his heart. The injured Bafang Han sword disappeared. 0. Armament hockey gradually filled Lin An's fist. He rushed in the direction of Garp. The speed of both sides is fast. The distance of more than 10 meters was crossed in an instant. Beat me. You guessed it. When Lin An and Garp first came to the front, Garp's weak voice reached Lin An's ears. Listening to Garp's almost weak voice, Lin An was overjoyed. He won the bet. Die. A roar came down Lin An's throat. A series of armament hockey turned into substance. Directly on Garp's face. Garp's fist was imprinted on Lin An's face almost at the same time. Open black lens bracket, you picked up a power. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket, you picked up a piece of agility. Close black lens bracket. Listening to the sound of the system, Lin An was even more relieved. Obviously, at the moment when the two collided, who directly took back most of his calendar area. Bang! There was a muffled sound. Immediately afterwards, Garp's body flew upside down, rolled along the ground for more than 10 laps, and didn't stop until it hit the wall. How come? Garp's defeat directly made all Marines completely dumbfounded. Seeing Garp flying upside down, especially lying motionless on the ground, everyone was stunned. Vice Admiral Garp, lost.